Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with A and A. Tonight's show is Single Girl Problems, the Good and the Bad. I want to tell you right off the top, don't be fooled by the title. It's going to be spicy like it was the last time that we were on air. And we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Before we get started, I want to bring on my co-host, Angela. Angela, you want to say hi to the folks?
Hey everyone.
You last week's show was pretty spicy. We got to have fun with that one, didn't we?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I'm
You were
okay.
for a
Yeah,
minute.
I'm on my phone, so a little, I'm
Oh,
kind
okay.
of in and out. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. A little delay. Okay, so what we're going to do before we bring our guests on stage, I want to give the rules of engagement. Okay. Number one, everyone is to be treated with respect. Two, speak one at a time. Three, be mindful of your language. And four, when the hosts interject, do not speak over them or your mic may be muted. Number five, and the biggest one of all, let's have fun. We're going to do this here. The only reason why we may mostly interject is we want you to stay on the point that you're making and we want you to elaborate a little bit more so we have clarity. So it's not that you're saying anything wrong or we want to stop you from talking, but we just need clarity or we want you to elaborate on the point that you're making. And right now, I'm going to bring up our guests tonight. We have Abdal and we have Hassan. So I'm bringing you both to the stage now. And welcome to Conversations with A and A. And our family is ready to engage with you. And we want to hear all the wonderful things you want to say. Abdal, you want to say something to the peoples?
I just want to say hi to everybody. I hope everybody's warm. And if anybody out there has a little plastic spoon and they want to do some shoveling, we got a lot of snow in New Jersey.
It takes you to
No.
say something like that, Abdul.
No, I'm not interested in shoveling with a spoon. Not at all. Not at all. And tonight we
I
also
guess the I
have.
guess the sing. When you're not single, you don't have to shovel with spoons. That's what men are for. That's
You
what
want to
men
shovel
for.
with a spoon? Have at it. That's all I got to say. Please do. Please do. And also tonight we have our guest Hassan. Hassan, you want to tell us where you're calling from, and you want anything you want to say to the audience before we get started?
Sure. First of all, good evening. I'm calling from New Jersey. Thanks for having me. And I thought that this was conversations at AA, so that's why I signed up. But it's conversations with AA. I thought it was Alcohol's Anonymous, so I'm kind of in the wrong call. My bad. It's a little misleading.
Well, let me tell you something. By the end of the show, we may have to. Don't, don't count
We're
anything out.
not alcohol. No, we're not alcohol anonymous, but we still can help you if you need help.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Glad to be here.
No
Thank you for
problem.
joining us.
You're welcome.
Angela, you want to have anything? Do you have anything to say before we get started?
No, just thank you, Hassan Abdal, our regular, for joining us tonight.
Okay, very good. Again, tonight's show is called Single Girl Problems, the Good and the Bad. And this, the title of this show was inspired by the title of a book by Andrea Bain. I have not personally read this book yet, but this was the inspiration of the title tonight. Okay, now, I guess where we're going to start this off with, Angela, I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to talk to everybody's going to get a turn to chime in and say what they think about what's going on. The title is Single Girl Problems, the Good and the Bad. My question is, what is the problem? Let's start with that. Angela, you got thoughts?
I don't know what the problem is. Well, it depends on how you look at it. It depends on what you need in your relationship or what you need in your life as a woman. So it could be okay, it could be good, or it could be bad, depending on where you at in your life and what you need. Relationships is very political. And I believe that in terms of single girls, I believe that there's just an attack on heterosexual relationships. That's just me. Okay. It's an attack on heterosexual relationships. So what I used to take as for granted, or I used to just speak on vaguely, or just speak on it, certain subjects in terms of relationship, I used to speak on it just being broad or nonchalant. That's the word, nonchalant. I'm more concerned for our future generation, okay, of men and young men and women, and having healthy relationships. Because as humans, we strive to be together. We need companionship. We need love. We need support. And I'm never for individualism. I'm for collectiveness. So that's how you build nations. That's how you build families, and that's how you stay together. So from what I'm seeing now, like I said, I would take it lightly before, but I'm not now. And let me give you an example. What's going on with the war? Israel and who else is fighting? I'm sorry. Israel and
Hamas.
Excuse me?
It's Israel, Hamas.
Right, and Hamas. What's going on now with the women out there, right? Women are killing them, they raping them, right? Yeah, so the ones who are single, I mean, we this is just a regular topic, but if you're single in there and you don't have a warrior man behind you, whether it's your sons or if you have, your husband, you're dying. You understand? So, unless a woman that you ready to fight or whatever, but 9 times out of 10 in terms of protection and everything. So, it could be bad in that instance, to be single during that time, especially during the time of war. It's a bad thing, So, like I said, I look at it from various different point of views. But someone else can talk on, say something.
Okay, Abdal, you want to say something? And before you get started, Abdal, I want to welcome Greg to the stage, because Greg just joined us. So we'll be hearing from Greg shortly. Okay, go ahead, Abdal.
Okay. Yeah, all right. One thing about relationships with single women, I think, my opinion anyway, it's the choices that they make of the men that they choose to deal with. You got to remember this. Men have no say-so in a before relationship. A man can only pursue you, and you have all the say-so. You say whether or not you're going to talk to this man. You say whether or not you're going to deal with this man. You say whether or not you're going to be with this man. And you say whether or not you're going to have sex with this man. You have all the controlling choices. So the decision is totally the female. The male has nothing to say. He can only ask. That's all he can do. And you make the final decision. You control all the cards. And sometimes women don't see that, but they have all the control. I've been turned down when I was a kid by a lot of women, or I should say females, because they was young. And they wouldn't deal with me because of the reputation I had. But then some would. They didn't care about what they heard about me because they didn't feel as though everything they heard wasn't true. It might have been, but they didn't know that. So I feel when it comes to a male-female relationship, the woman should scrutinize the man completely before she ever deal with him. You find out about his past. You find out about his employment. You find out about his education. You find out everything you can about him before you make that choice to deal with him. Just don't go for the surface stuff because he dressed nice, he got a nice car, he got a lot of money. I don't have a problem with women marrying for money. I promote that anyway. You know, I tell women all the time, if you can marry a man and have money, do that. You know, I don't see nothing wrong with it myself. You know, but women should check the man out completely before she get caught up in a bad situation where she didn't check him out, and he's nothing like what he projects himself to be.
Okay, Abdul.
But Abdul, Abdul.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Abdul, we talking about what is the good or the bad for a single woman? We're talking about a single woman, not just before, like they're not even in a single woman is not even in a relationship. So we're just speaking about
okay.
the bad and the bad or the good in a single relationship. I mean for a single woman. So that's what before she even get in a relationship, what is the good part and what is the bad? The good or the bad?
Well, the good part is she has to say so. I mean, she makes the decision on who she going to deal with and how she going to deal with that individual. So that's her choice. He can't say nothing. I mean, he can only, can I take you out? Can I call you? You got to say so, yes or no. So that is totally her choice. She got to say so.
Hold on 1 second, Abdul. Okay, the question on the table is, what is the problem? You're getting to what we're going to get to this deeper in the conversation. But right now is, as you said, the question is, what is the problem? So hold that thought, Abdul.
Okay.
So now we're going to, Hassan, would you like to tell us what you think the problem is? Or is there a problem? What are your thoughts?
All right. So the first 3 letters I'll use is FMP, which is from my perspective. So I want that to be clear. But just to be able to elaborate on it, the topic is, why are women single? Is it good or bad? Or
no, the title is Single Girls Problems. So it's a deceptive title. But what the question is, do you think there is a problem? Do you think there's a problem with single women of today? That's the question that's on the table. Ask me that. Okay.
All right. So it was kind of mentioned by Angela to some degree in context in terms of what are they looking for. So one of the I want to say challenges from a positive perspective, rather problems, because challenges present that there's actually a solution versus there's no workable solution. So one of the challenges with single women is they're not clear on the expectations, 1, or they have unrealistic expectations, 2, or they're not accepting of what options they have based on what they're looking for, right? So an example would be, there's generally 3 types of relationships that a woman can engage in with a man, right? The first being a man who's going to take care of her financially, right? The second is a partnership, which is a 50-50 relationship where they both split the bills, right? And the third is where she takes care of a man financially. Now, most women don't want the last one. I'm just, again, this is my perspective. These are options. I mean,
I guess I'll be single.
And that's fine, but I'm just giving my perspective on the options, right? And so the challenge is accepting those options, right? Obviously, by that adverse reaction, the third option is not viable for most women, which is fine. But the other 2 is kind of where they struggle, because there are single women who want the level of independence, which that's fine, because once you leave your parents' house and you're not married, you're independent. You're responsible for yourself. And so you have to be independent. But it's when you going for a mate selection and you say, okay, I want to be in a relationship, you have to determine what type of relationship you want. You can't have the first option where a man takes care of you, but you still live in a capacity of a single woman, which that's kind of where a lot of the conflict comes in. They want provision, but they want independence, right? Those don't coexist, right? And then the 50-50 thing is, if you accept that, it is what it is, and you can't be resentful for it. So, in summary, one of the greatest challenges is of the the good, the bad they face is accepting the options that are available, trying to make an option that is unrealistic or that doesn't exist.
Okay, I want to say something. A response to what you said, Hassan. The funny thing was when you said what you said, it was like putting a needle on a record player and then it just skated across the record. That was the response you got right there. And then there's nothing, I don't find anything wrong with what you said. I like what you said, but it tickled me when that response came in. We're going to go there. We're going to go deep. So we just getting started here. So
Okay.
Don't you worry about it. We're going deep. Greg, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you today? How are you this evening? Okay.
I am fine. How are you?
I'm alive. I'm alive. It's always
That's a good thing, and that's a great
Right,
start.
that's a good thing, Greg. Glad to see you
glad-
alive, Greg.
I'm glad you noticed it, Greg.
yeah. But when I always try to stick with I'm glad to be alive and blessed to be around. The always glad to be a part of this. This phenomenal platform and things like that. And I'm just happy that I always get that that good welcome from you guys and stuff like that. So I'm just happy to hear. I'm blessed to join another segment, and that's a good thing. It's always a good thing, because again, with us coming together, it's always just for the benefit of solution. That's what this is all about.
Love it. I love it. Now, can you share with us your thoughts on this single girl problem? And I like what Hassan said, because I was looking to hear that. Rather than problems, what are the challenges? What do you think the challenge is with single women?
The challenge with single woman is as per, I mean, when you ask this question, are you asking it from the perspective of them looking for something, or are you just looking, because that's what I'm saying. Like the way the problem women, the way it's being advocated, I guess I would just simply say, how can I this exact situation, but we're gonna try to make it. All right, so I'm look at it like this. If they're dealing with it from the perspective of wondering how relationships and things are going to turn out, then I think what they would have to do is kind of observe where they came from and things like that. Like, let's say, for instance, you have a lot of women today, especially our women of color, who actually have been victims of circumstance due to the process of socialism, things like that. All these things are a factor. So when I look at it from this perspective of the way today's culture is moving and stuff like that, the most important thing is that they just try to kind of be themselves and kind of like just be a little innovative in looking outside the box versus inside the box, or outside the matrix versus inside the matrix. So in other words, like, if they came from an old school understanding of things, and if they came from a angle where maybe people in their past went through things, they observed certain things, mother, aunt, or older sister, somebody that went through something, what they should be doing is kind of observing the past 10 things that went on. So this way, they can look for a better reflection and a better, so they can look at things to reflect on a better future, if that makes sense. So the way I see it is like, what they would just have to be is very, very careful. Of course, a lot of the things that Abdul kind of was saying was, I kind of agreed with that. The other brother, Hassan, nice to meet you, brother. I don't think I never had the opportunity to meet you before, but how's it going? Shout out to you, brother. So yeah, everything that everyone says so far resonates in the right direction. But all I'm just, to make it simple, the best thing is, I would just say, is just be observative of the surroundings, everything that's going on in today's culture, analyze the rights from the wrongs and things like that, I don't really see a literal, because I don't see a problem with a being single at this particular point in life today. Basically, from where definitely looking at from where we came from, because at the end of the day, if she's being single, if she's being observative and she's being cautious and she's taking things step by step because she doesn't want to make any wrong decisions and things like that. I don't see anything wrong with that until she's ready to kind of execute the plan based on what she wants in life. That's pretty much it.
Okay, very good. The next question on the table
wait, but Avon, what do you? Okay, so I want to add on to that because I feel like because we women, so I mean, I want to add on to that. I don't want to sugarcoat nothing. So let's just get down to some basics here. First of all, when you sing for a single woman, from my experience when I was single, and Avon, I would like for you to answer this too. For the bad part, not the bad, it was just challenging. It gets lonely sometimes. A lot of women don't want to admit that because it's like, oh, I don't need a man type of attitude. But it does. After a while, it becomes lonely from that male companionship. Okay, I'm not saying that it becomes lonely like you don't have no family and friends, because you do have, most women have family and friends, and some of us even have, better networks than others. So it's when the male companionship, helping out, like things that you don't want to do. It could be simple, like taking your car to go get fixed, putting gas in your car. If you have a problem with another male, in terms of protection, doing things for you that you don't necessarily have the time to do for yourself, just making sure you're checking up on you, giving you that feeling of security, you understand, and having like a companion. So that will be the challenges. That would be some of the challenges. So I say to you, Avon, from both. Now, the good thing is being single is that you get to learn yourself. You understand? You get to spend time with yourself. You get to, you get to do a lot of different things that I don't know if that you can do in a like if you was with a mate, but you just get to have time and reflect and to do things that by yourself in terms of what it is that you may want to do, unlike if you was, with a family or with a significant other. So those is just some of my thoughts. Like Hassan said about the thoughts process. He said, Hassan, you said something. You said an acronym. I like it. You said, from my perspective.
FMP, from my perspective.
Yeah. FMP, right.
Just so a disclaimer to be clear, like
I like
right. And that's just from my perspective. I'm not a psychologist. Right. I'm not a psychologist or whatever, but I did hear that, women that are in happy partnerships live longer. I did hear that. I don't have the statistics. And like I said, that's just from my perspective. But what would you say, Avon?
Okay, what I say is, like I said before, what Hassan has said as far as problems, I don't see that there is a problem. There are challenges. Okay, so I want to start with that. So I don't want to start invoking things and that don't need to be there. I'm trying to speak life, and we're trying to come up with different perspectives here, and hopefully through these different perspectives that we will come to, or we will present ways and people can think differently so they can have a solution. They'll find a resolution to what's going on here. What I see in today, I see that a lot of young women have not been trained or had the discussions of what it is to be a woman. What is their position in life? What is the role of a woman? And then what is the role of a woman for herself? And then what is her role far as being in a relationship. And I see when you don't have those things in order, this will cause a challenge for you. It's going to cause a challenge. If you don't know who you are, where you're going, you don't have a game plan, whatever, it's gonna make a bumpy road for you. So the thing is, at this time, as far as being single, this is a good time to do introspective work and self-reflection. So that is the good thing of it. As far as the challenge of it, like I said before, is when you are unfamiliar with who you are and you don't have a plan, you're gonna run into things. So I don't know if I answered your question, but those are my thoughts on it.
Amen.
One of the things that you mentioned about women not knowing themselves, I think more so too is women not understanding men. Because a lot of times as women, like Abdul mentioned something. He said, woman basically controls the relationship.
Yes.
Okay. We choose the man basically for the most part, right? So it's really important for a woman to know the nature of a man.
Right.
Okay. And once you understand the nature of a man, then you'll know how to navigate better relationships with a man, from your sons to your husband, to your brothers, your sisters, So I think a lot of times what women want in a man, it's not realistic. That friendship, that bond, that those elements. And that plays a role in them staying single. So that's where it comes, and I'm just saying, once again, it's from my perspective, but also from reading and understanding from different perspectives of what I did my research on, what women is expecting from men, and they don't see and they don't get it because they haven't looked up or learned about the nature. See, it's one thing to understand yourself as a woman, but when you start interacting with people, that's on a different level. Like now you in a relationship. Now you have to learn about the nature of this person, of this human that you interacting with. It's like me being if I'm a school teacher, right? I'm not one, but if I'm a school teacher, I can know me. I'm supposed to know me, right? I'm supposed to know my temperament. Can I handle stress? Could I, or how I handle stress? But now it takes on a different perspective if I'm actually in the classroom. Like now I'm not only dealing with what I perceive it to be, but now it's a reality of I'm dealing with other students. So it's the same thing with relationships, because I hear a lot of people, especially women, don't get in relationships until you get yourself together. So you might have a single woman who's together. She has her own money. She has everything on the ball. And then now she's in a relationship, right? So now she might came in with a relationship thinking one way. So now she has to interact with this whole human being, this whole man. All right. And it might not be as she expected. And that's one of the things Hassan said, like, it depends on what you're expecting or whatever. So you might have been working on yourself for years. You got women who started turning celibate. They're like, oh, I'm not going to deal with a man until I get this together, get my life together, my career, whatever it is. And then now they get in a relationship and they back to square one. Because you working on yourself is one thing, but now you in a whole relationship with someone else. So it varies in terms of why, the good and the bad. Another thing too is a lot of successful women who are in relationships by themselves, they want to be in relationships, but sometimes their careers and their success intimidate a lot of men. Men might feel some type
Angela,
of way.
Hold on a second. And what you're saying is good. And Hassan had wanted to respond to something that you said. So I'm gonna let him respond. And then where we're going, we're gonna go into that even deeper. So we're gonna break it down and go into it even more for exactly what you're saying. But first, Hassan had a question to ask you. He had a response to what you said.
Yes, I actually wanted to add on. So there's a lot of points. So the conversation, we're all in a cipher, and everybody's pretty much hitting the same points, and it's on point. And I'm in agreement with a lot of things she mentioned. I want to take one step back because I didn't mention the good part. I kind of mentioned the challenge, but the good thing, which Angela and Avon, both of you just mentioned, is that when a woman is single, the good thing is that she has the ability and the time for introspection and self-discovery, right? Which leads to one, knowing thyself. Now, knowing thyself and knowing the nature of, if you're looking for a man, are kind of two separate things that can come into alignment. Now, the reality is that from a career standpoint, from an educational standpoint, that work is being done. But from an introspective self-discovery standpoint, that work has not been done, which is where the challenge presents themselves. Because when we talk about success, it's usually measured in a financial measurement rather than a human measurement. And so what happens is that, to your point, a woman says, "Hey, I'm gonna get myself together, right? I'm gonna be successful." But they're only measuring success in terms of monetarily or educational. They're not measuring success in terms of being able to have a progressive and beneficial relationship with another person. That there's no real success or value measured there. And so then it comes to the options, and it comes to a false equation of this success translates to this, right? Like, example, I can be a real estate developer and I can have a lot of success in real estate development. That doesn't mean I can own a sports franchise. Now, I may be able to, but that doesn't translate. And so just because you've made it to a certain point in your career and you have a certain level of education, that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful in a relationship with somebody of the complementary gender, right? Notice I didn't say opposite sex, right? So that what often happens is that they're having a mistranslation or a false translation that, hey, I can move here because I'm successful here. It's going to matter. It's going to translate. It's more about that self-discovery doesn't happen because look, being introspective and seeing what happened to you as a kid that you had no control over, whereas you can't change it, but you can accept it, absorb it, deal with it, and then move forward, right? Often that doesn't happen, and you have adults that are, just say, 35 years old, but they're walking around as a 35-year-old that's really in a 7-year-old's body because they never got over the fact that this happened or that happened. They never dealt with it. And so they're carrying those problems. An analogy would be like if you went to the airport, right? And you had 2 carry-ons, and basically you had 2 hours before your flight, and everywhere you went, you had to actually carry those without that luggage cart. You had to carry it to the newsstand, and you had to carry it to Auntie Anne's Pretzels, and you had to carry it to Applebee's, and you're walking. It'll be exhausting, and you're carrying this baggage around your whole life rather than dealing with it, right? So that's kind of the challenge. Is that one thing that's men, we have to, and I don't want to jump the gun, but we have to look like there's not a lot of sympathy. So it's like, you're a man, you got to figure it out and look through it. But often a lot of these things from a past has not been dealt with. And then they think, hey, I'm successful, right? And we salute. Hey, do your thing, sister. We want you to be able to provide for yourself. We want you to be educated. We want you to be the best version of you. But understand that the best version of you comes from within with what God gave you and what your parents gave you, right? The other stuff is just material because, we all have to eat and live in a place, pay rent. But, if everything was free tomorrow, who are you, right? Like, who are you as a person that you're bringing to somebody else to share, right? So that's kind of what I want to add on.
Well, okay. In terms of that, as a single successful woman, first of all, those whatever skills you have. See, I believe in this. When God give you skills, whether you are, you have merchant skills, you have sales skills, you have whatever skills you have, right? I believe that is transitional, right? So a successful woman that's successful in her job or her career, it depends on how she look at it. If she flip it, she could use those same qualities to be successful in her relationship. Because guess what? It's the same. It's a lot of those traits are needed to build a successful relationship or a decent relationship. For instance, you need patience. If you got a degree, if you had to go to school to get a degree, and it took you 7, 8 years to get a degree, that took patience, right? If you had to negotiate with your professor on your grades or things that you didn't like, or was quiet because you didn't like certain things, but you stayed quiet actually, because you didn't like certain things that was going on with your grades. So you might have, bite your tongue for that you sometimes you have to do that in a relationship. We're just taught how to separate it. Okay. And one of the things Avon and I always say, it's all interconnected. It's all one. It's all the same to a certain extent. Like, it's not far apart. So if you're successful in your career, if you know how to run a business, you basically know how to run your household. But we've been taught that it's so separate. So it's not only monetary benefits or something monetary that you learn in or gain from it. It's certain skills. If you're running a corporation, you dealing with hundreds of people, right? You dealing with your employees. You dealing with, you know, HR, or you dealing with different departments. You use those same skills and you bring it home in a positive way. So say for instance, you and your husband don't agree on, your man don't agree on certain things. You might just not say anything, or you be savvy about how you approach certain things, because you have to do that at your job. You have to do that in school. You have to do that, right? So it depends on how we look at it. But we've been taught that it's separate, but it's transitional. Those skills are transitional. And that's why a lot of times you hear men say, oh, women, with their careers, that don't, you can't get no man with that, or, it's looked upon, is not really celebrated, because it's this idea that, oh, is that, that success has nothing to do with your relationship. But if we flip it and understand that it is transitional, then that single woman that wants to be in a relationship or wants to be married could transfer those skills into her relationship.
Okay.
Okay, now I
Can I
want to say,
respond or go to go?
go ahead, respond on that, and then
Oh.
we're going to go on to we're going to tighten it up and go into other aspects. Okay.
So I'll say three things. The first thing I mentioned, I don't disagree that there's a possibility it can, but it's not necessarily transferable because some of the human element is missing. The second thing is that God doesn't give you skills. God gives you ability and gifts, which is almost one and the same. You get skills from life, right? Man gives you skills, or life gives you skills. You can develop a skill based on your ability or gift, right? So you have to work and get those skills, right? The third and final thing is, like I said, I don't disagree with you. However, if you look at empirical data, which is out in the world, it's not translating. It's not. It can be 100%. If you run a corporation, running a household should be a little bit easier. I agree. I've run a household and I've run corporations, so I agree. However, there's certain elements that to some degree there's a natural element that gets removed from people, but women in particular in the workforce, that doesn't have to be removed from the home, right? Sometimes, like you mentioned, you come home and there's something and you be silent about it. That shouldn't be the case. You should never have to be silent in your home. Now, obviously, you have to know when to hold them and fold them, but no one should ever be silent in their home. They should be able to voice something that's a real issue. So it's just based on what's out in the world, the data, the empirical, data evidence. It's not transferable. And also, if you if you deal with your husband, first of all, example, if you're an executive in a corporation, right, you report to somebody who you call your boss, right? Now, if you go home, the majority of married people, the majority, men are the head of household. So if you use the same energy, you're not going to go to your job and tell your boss, hey, you have to do this, right? You're going to take an L at work. So then you're going to come home, you'll take an L there, but you may have something valuable that you need to discuss. So the transition is not the same, because just because the man is the head of household doesn't mean you don't have a valid gripe or issue that he needs to address. So there's that element of self, of your own values, or whatever your belief system is, that really needs, like example, if you're getting a belief system, a value system, a moral compass from your job, you've already missed your whole childhood and the formative years of your adult life, right? So there's that challenge. Again, I agree, it's possible, but there's something deeper than just that, the transferable skill is say, hey, I'm an executive, I'll be good at, running a house. And FMP and also FME from my experience.
Well, I'm not saying that you got to be quiet, but as women in interacting, like I said, a lot of women don't know men. Men deal with a lot of ego. So you, even in the workforce, you have to be mindful of that as a woman. Okay. So if you're mindful of that in general, if you know the nature of a man in general, you will be able to navigate in a relationship as well as an executive dealing with men. Okay, because I'm a realtor, I'm a real estate broker, and most of my career was dealing and interacting with men. So I had to use certain skills, certain knowledge, as me being a woman versus them being a man, that gave me certain perspectives to learn how to navigate in that male dominant arena. So there is a way that it's just that a lot of times women haven't been taught that, because like a lot of times in male dominated, and this goes back to the single woman. Okay. This goes back to, and how it goes back to the single woman is because a lot of times, a lot of single women are successful, right? And that hinders, in their perspective, maybe, and especially in other people's perspective, of them being single. Maybe they find, I spoke to a lot of single, successful women, and they find it hard to find mates. A lot of times they're not taught, a lot of women, we're not taught how to navigate those levels of success or those levels of interaction with men. And so when we do have, this power or this leadership role, we don't we don't know, okay, unless someone taught us that. And the same thing with your relation, as a woman with a relationship. It's not that she coming home and being, quiet about what he say. Sometimes you fall back so it could be a peaceful environment, and you be savvy. Just like you couldn't go to your board of directors and just say what you want to say because it's on your mind. You have to use discernment, right? You have to be savvy. So I'm talking from that perspective.
Okay, everybody, we did good on that one, and we want to get the rest of the panel in as well. Okay, so we have gone over what the challenge is, and we touched upon just now partially what is the goal. Is it a partnership that we're looking for? Is it relationship? And then we spoke on being in this time of being single. We spoke about introspection and self-reflection. And then the other thing is honesty. You got to be honest with yourself. There's a lot of dishonesty going on here. We are being dishonest to people that we're going to be in a relationship with because we are not honest with ourselves. Like we said, we don't know what it is that we want. We didn't come up with a plan. So this is where we want to go now. So what is the plan? what are the standards that is needed to go into the relationship? And one thing, as an example, is accountability. Now, I think accountability better positions one to be in a commitment. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you're pointing the finger all the time, it's like, what you did this, and you didn't do that, and how come this and that? We'll never get anywhere. We're never going to get anywhere. That's so in that accountability, that's where that self reflection comes in, and that being what is introspective, correct, introspective. So with that being said, what are the standards? What are the standards out here? We come from the male and the female perspective, and the floor is open to everybody. I want to hear from everybody. What do you think about that? So we're going to go to Greg. Start with you, Greg, and then we go to Abdul, then Hassan, and we go from there. Go ahead, Greg. Are you there?
Right. Yeah, I'm here. What was the question again? No, how do you want to address that?
Okay, you heard all the things that we had. We touched on a lot of things already. Self-reflection, introspection, honesty. I put out there is what are the standards and what should the plans be? I suggested, for one, accountability. And I said accountability better positions one to a commitment. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you kind of summed it up all right there. Just by saying those things that you said, basically I could kind of just piggyback off of the things that you said. And I think you're correct. Accountability, just working together as a team, as a unit, and things like that. We know that things are, everything's never going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, we can always come around and try to reconcile and make sure things stay on the right track and things like that. So yeah, accountability, commitment, all those things, all those components are a definite factor. And those are the factors that's going to make it work ultimately to keep everything, going, So yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. That's correct, 100%.
Thank you very much. Abdul, what do you say?
Well, first of all, I want to say something about something that you came across. I don't believe in a male being the head of the household. That's the first thing. I don't believe in that stuff. Never did. I was taught by my father, and he was taught by his father, and his father was not head of the household. They did it equally. My father did it equally, and I believe the same thing, because you can't make.
So are you addressing who you addressing that said that?
Well, right, he raised his hand. Hassan said it. See, I don't believe in the male dominant should run the household. No, he's not the best person to make all the major decisions. That's number one. It should be a joint thing. It should always be joint. If you want this woman to be happy, she has to be by your side, not behind you. You know what I mean? So you can't have a established relationship where the woman's taking second place to you. You know what I mean? And if she's making more money than you, if you're intimidated by that woman should not be with that man. Just plain and simple. I don't even understand relationships like that. Women have one major fault, and I want to bring it up right now. They have the fault of always letting something go. If something disturbs you the first time, you should say something about it. Don't let it go, hoping it don't happen again, or he don't say this again. You should say something the first time it occurs. Because when somebody says something to me and I don't take it the right way, I'm going to let them know right then and there. I'm not going to let it go, hoping they don't say it again or don't do it again. I'm going to bring it up right then and there. And women should do the same thing. Don't let nothing go thinking that, oh, it ain't going to happen again. He ain't going to do that again, or he ain't going to say that again. No, you should bring it up at that moment.
Okay, very good. Hassan?
Yeah, so just to be clear, I didn't say it was my belief that a man should be the head of the household. I was speaking to the fact that the majority of married households, the man is the head of the household. So salute to you, your dad and your grandfather. If that worked, that worked. And I also never mentioned that a woman is behind a man or a woman is second. Never mentioned those things. Sometimes the perceived implication of a man saying he's the head of household is that it degrades a woman, and it doesn't, right? In any relationship, there should be a leader. It could be the woman, it could be the man, just whoever is better suited to lead, right? But empirical data, which means what's out there in the world, the majority is this, right? I'm not opposed to either way it goes, but if you have a baby and your baby comes out with two heads, you're going to have a problem. Two heads is a monster, right? You need one head and one body, right? So we need to do that. The second thing, and I agree, and I forgot to mention that about the intimidation. In the majority, men are never intimidated by a woman's success. Now, men could be turned off by a woman's attitude, but don't equate success with a man being intimidated, because men are intimidated by another man who walks up to them with a gun in their face. That intimidates us. A woman who's successful and worked towards something, we're not intimidated with that. We just want them to understand it doesn't equate to a certain level of treatment. And men, by and large, understand what their level is. Example, if I know I make $40,000 a year, I know a sister that's making $150,000 a year ain't getting with me. I know that, So it's just the intimidation thing is just kind of a narrative that's created. Where if we go to what Dee was talking about accountability, saying, "Hey, let me own this." If you're successful, whatever that means, if you're an executive in a Fortune 500 corporation and you're making over $200,000, and then you get with a person who's making considerably less than you, right? Who may not have had the education that you had, who may not have grown up in the same type of background as you had. You're from two different worlds, and this person is not on your level from an intelligence standpoint, right? And then you try to make this person because they may be attractive or whatever the case may be. You say, "Hey, I'm going to give this person a shot." You're punching down, like you're swinging. You're a heavyweight trying to fight a featherweight. It's an unfair fight. So I have no problem with a woman looking to seek a man who she considers on her level, but there's levels to the level, because it's not just based on income. And then there are some skills, like trades, that make more than some of the successful corporate women, but women are looking down on those because somebody's a plumber or electrician, not knowing those trades are making more than you're making at your corporate job, and you have more control and less stress. So accountability is the key, and responsibility is the key. And also it's about values, right? As an individual, you have to have values, which is your constitution. It governs your whole entire life. Everything starts from your values, which goes into your morals and your principles. And that's how you have to align with people. It's nice to find somebody who's attractive and successful, but there are a lot of successful people that are not nice people, right? And so if somebody is successful but your values don't align, too often that gets ignored. Values. I don't care how successful you are. What's your values, right? Does spirituality mean anything to you? Does education mean anything to you? Does health mean anything to you? Does community and family mean anything to you? Does security mean anything to you? If those don't resonate with you, I don't care how successful you are, and I don't care how good you look. I'm out.
Does anybody have any response to that? Angela, you have anything to say?
I mean, in a perfect society where there's not a patriarchal system in place, then fine. But to be to answer what Abdul, that's your father. I understand, respect him. But most men, we're talking about most men, they want to be the head of their household. Okay, most men want to be in control. Look at the world, how the world is built. Okay, look how we go to war. Look how men are ruling.
But do you think that's right?
Go ahead.
Do you think that's right?
I don't think a lot of things is right, but it is the way it's set up. So what do you do as a woman? Do you have to survive? There's countries that women can't even say anything. So but you survive, whatever. I'm not saying it's listen to me, Abdul. I'm not saying it's right. Okay. So, but you want to make sure that you are knowledgeable on how to navigate so you could be successful. In terms of, when I'm saying successful, in terms of being in a healthy relationship, being successful in terms of monetarily, being successful in a relationship, being successful as a parent, as a wife. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, you learn to navigate it as a woman. What you're talking about maybe 5% of the men feel like that. And a lot of time men come, they don't even feel. Abdul, I really don't believe you believe in that. Don't let me start on you, Abdul. Don't let me start. All right, Abdul, because you contradict a lot of things that you say, Abdul. Knock it off. Don't let me start. Y'all better take me off this panel because I'm going to get on Abdul.
Shots fired. Shots fired. 911. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
I'm not on mute.
All right. Abdul probably trying to find a girlfriend on here, hoping somebody call in and talk about, oh, I like Abdul. He not into that. So Abdul, knock it off. Okay.
They got a bank account.
Abdul say a lot of things that's contrary to what we have been discussing in terms of the man and all of this stuff. So Abdul, I beg to differ with you. You suspect with that thought, that ideology.
Abdul, here's my phone. Angela's calling. She calls BS. She calls BS.
And my thoughts and what I want to say to that is, I'm not even going there. I'm not stepping into that one. But I
could step into it.
I know, yeah, you just did. So we know that you could.
Well, let me clarify something. The reason why I feel like that is this. I want a woman to be just as strong, as knowledgeable as I am. Because if I falter in any way, I know she can carry the weight for me. You know what I mean? So I don't want somebody standing behind me. I want somebody right beside me. Okay, that's the kind of woman I want. She got to be as smart as I am, as sharp as I am, and as tactful as I am. You know what I mean? So I don't want somebody that I can rule over because I ain't into that. You know, my thing is I'm not trying to rule over nobody at any time for any reason whatsoever. I want a person to always be my equal or they shouldn't be with me. If somebody's not my equal, they got the wrong person because I don't want somebody that is not as sharp or not as smart or shouldn't be beside me at all, period. If she's a dumb, I don't want her. Let somebody else have her.
Remember, Abdul was the same person that said in the same breath, which is amazing. He said that he's the type of man that would take, a man should take care of all the bills and all of that. Then he turned around and said the relationship that he's in, the women have all the money. He don't need nothing from her. So Abdul, we got to be careful with Abdul, okay?
Yeah, but wait a minute. But that's the relationship I'm in, though. I can't help that. I mean, these are the people I deal with. You got to remember this. I support people's data centers. So obviously, I'm going to be around their daughters, and they're going to pawn their daughters off to me. So, I deal with people that got money and come from it. So I don't see no harm in wanting to be with a woman that has her own. I don't want a poor woman. She got everything, so she don't need nothing from me.
But that's what the whole thing was. Other men want to be in that position where a woman could be take care of everything.
No, but they can't take care of me. They ain't take care of me. I take care of myself.
I'm raising my hand. Pick me. I'm raising my hand. Pick me. Call on me.
Abdul, don't let me start on you, dude. Abdul is the same person that said he won't buy a woman a pocketbook that costs more than $25. Let me drop the mic on that.
Let's go to our mutual corners, please. And I want to say this.
No, because Abdul trying to come up here and trying to sound like Abdul is not being honest. You just said about
I'm being honest. I can't help the way I live.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I live. I can't help that.
Listen. Okay, hold on.
Right.
Go to your corners, champ.
I'm
Go to your
coming for you,
corners.
Abdul. I'm
Hold
coming
on.
for you,
Hold
Abdul.
your peace.
I'm
Hold
gonna
your
tell my mommy.
your mule. And listen. My thoughts on that is this, and then we're going to move on.
All right.
My thoughts are, look, in a relationship, I don't mind if the man leads or whoever's going to lead. I say lead, damn it. Somebody leads. Look, take the stress and the worry off of me a little bit. Go ahead and lead. But what I see and where there is a I don't want to say problem, but the challenge is that we don't understand what leading is. Some people take leading to mean controlling, and that's not what we're talking about. There's a difference between leading and controlling. Somebody is the lead. We have a plan, and then we say the man. I don't mind the man. You take the lead and move the plan forward. I'm here with you. I'm right along beside you. But when we're out in the public and when we're talking to people, you take the lead. I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is this confusing of taking control, or I tell you what to do and that's it. You have no say, whatever. That's where the problem comes in. Everybody has an equal say in a relationship. That's what I would say. And where another challenge that comes in is, I say, where there's too much I and me, and I'm going to take the lead in this and that. What the heck are you in the relationship for? Isn't it supposed to be we and us? I don't hear that too much. I hear I and me, not us and we.
No, Avon, men want to take control. This is what women need to understand. I'm just going to sum it up because I just can't. Men want to take control. The majority of men, besides Abdul, the 5%. Let's don't think about. We talking about the 95%. And women need to be savvy. That's what they need to do. Back in the day, our ancestors knew. You think they would like those relationships they was in, but they knew how to survive. Okay, they knew they knew how to play their cards. That's what's missing. Women, we can't. You know who gonna take men? Majority of men, whether they saying it or not. Come on, Greg, say it. Admit it. Hassan, admit it, please. Y'all killing me.
No. You have no argument. I was making a clarification because the first thing is we have to stop changing the meaning of words, right? One thing doesn't mean another. Because I said the majority of men are head of households doesn't mean I feel that way. And it doesn't mean I don't feel that way. I'm just making a factual statement based on empirical data that you can find out in the world, right? A man being the head of household doesn't mean he's mistreating his woman. He's talking down to his woman. He's abusing his woman.
We're not talking about that.
No, but what the insinuation of what Abdal is saying is that, you're treating a woman less than, right? Understand.
No, right.
This is where if we're gonna talk about the relationship between a man and a woman, right? At its core, there's a very huge difference between what a man has to bring to a woman and what a woman has to bring to a man. Finance materials out of the picture. Angela, and I don't know if you're married or not, but I'm just going to use myself and you as an example, if that's okay with you. If I'm going to marry you, Angela, right? If you're going to be my woman, right? I have to be willing to die for you, literally, right? Which is, people don't understand when they say that a woman should be behind a man. It's a literal thing, because if danger is coming, a man is going to put the woman behind him to protect her, right? So, in the most primal sense, you have to understand what that means. We take the reverse. A woman is not required, right, to put her life on the line for a man in everyday situations, right? And so That's generally instinctively why a man has to lead, meaning be in front. Lead means be in front. And because right, no, there's no, like, a woman would love to be by a man's side until somebody starts shooting, right? And then she would have no problem standing behind him because he becomes a shield. That's protection. And men have accepted that role, right? And so to the point where you were mentioning is that knowing men's nature hasn't changed, right? We have tried to adapt and accept certain things to make it better, right? Some have, some haven't. But the primary relationship between the man and the woman at its core has not changed. It's, certain things have changed the way people receive it. But we have to stop as a collective, stop thinking one thing means another. Stop thinking that every man who wants to lead, and even a man who wants to control, because people are using control as a bad word, right? But again, Angela, if you and I are in a car together and I'm driving, what do I have to use to drive? The steering wheel. I have to make sure I take control of the car, right? Because if we're driving on 85 South and I'm doing 80 miles per hour, and then we're deciding who's going to control. Oh, okay, here. Hey, you know what? Take the wheel. We'll die, right? Like we have to come together and be realistic and be practical and be accountable and say, okay, but there are situations where a woman may be better suited to lead. There are situations, right? No, nothing is set in stone. But to your point, which I agree, the majority is that the man, and it's just how it is. It's about the nature, right? And again, a man and a woman.
Thank you.
A man and a woman. A woman gets pregnant, right? A woman gets pregnant, right? A woman is 6 months pregnant. Okay. Someone comes in to rob her house. Oh, is she expected to defend herself and her man is in the house? No, it's ludicrous. It's also illogical, right? There's a reason why men are set up this way. And so no one has a problem with the man dying and the woman surviving, right? So we have to accept everything in its entirety, right? And so when we start talking, like, example, there's going to be some things that a woman has a better grasp on than men. That's why you have a relationship where you say, okay, I'm a man, I'm going to do these things over here. You're a woman, you're going to do those things, right? And so a man is not going to say, hey, don't wash the dishes this way. And I hate to use that, but I'm just saying, don't do this, don't do that. Like a man, if a woman's running the house, she's going to run the house. If a man is providing, he's going to provide. A woman's not going to say, hey, when you go to work, take this route. And so when you accept a role in a relationship, you stick to that role, and it doesn't make anybody more important than the other. Everybody is playing a role. And just because a man is leading, he's not gonna have a say. Like, he's not gonna be the one to determine every single thing, because he does. Like, as a man, I don't care about certain things. Once I agree, hey, I'm gonna do this, you do that. You do your thing. I trust you to do it. It's about respect. It's about trust. It doesn't have to be, like, I'm gonna be a controlling man. I want to control you, right? That happens, but that's a separate issue. But go ahead, Angela.
Right, Hassan. Don't get me wrong, and Avon, I'm gonna let you move on, but I just have to address this. I'm not saying it in a negative way. Okay, when I say men, most 99% of men, or 95% of the men, want to be the head of their household. I'm looking at it from the same perspective. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You understand?
Like you mentioned, I know it wasn't you. Yeah. No, I know it was right. Abdul was presenting it
because I feel if first of all, if somebody rob our house and I'm running, knowing me, I'm going to run and try to get something too. I'm not going to just be screaming, knowing me. But however, if I'm like trying to figure something out or whatever, and you just standing there and you're like, go see who that is, I'm not going to like that. So like I said, I don't have a problem with when it comes to gender roles like that. That's just me. Okay. Because I know the nature of men. And one of the things is that they do, and I'm not saying it in a negative way. I know the way I'm saying it may seem like that. They want to have a sense of control. They want to have a sense of power. Okay, because just look at the nature of them, right? Men like to go to war. They like to feel, they like to feel accomplished, and they goals, and they, and resources and everything like that. So I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with that. What I was saying is that it as a whole, women need to be taught these things so that way we won't see it as something negative. A lot of, like you said, Hassan, it seemed the way it's been, even the way how Abdul said it, it seems negative, but every system have a head. Whether you're the head of your department, a head of a company, you go to the store, everyone don't get a chance to just, say what they feel. No, there's a manager, a store manager, there's employees there. So it's not a bad thing, only if you're looking at it like that. And so for me, I want that. Like, one of the things that I look at, if I'm if I'm interacting with a man, even if I'm not, like, that's not my man. If I'm with you, right, and you're a man, I like when men look out for security, right? So he might notice something from afar that I would never catch on as a woman. He might notice danger before I do, because being that it's in his nature already to notice that or to be that, he understands it when it's coming. I love when men do that. I have a cousin. He is so into that. Like, we could be on a train and he like, no, don't go on that train. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I follow his every move. Okay. I like to be around men who think, because I don't think like that. You understand? So I appreciate those qualities that men bring when they bring certain qualities to the table. Unlike if you with a man and you just standing there, both of y'all get into an altercation and he didn't even see it coming. Like, I would question that. You understand? Like, like, how you not see that coming if it was obvious, So I'm not saying it as a bad thing. Abdul is saying something different. I don't know if he's saying it, but I'm saying that I appreciate if a man is takes on that responsibility.
Just to be clear, I didn't receive it from you bad at all. You were on point. I was kind of more I was just addressing Abdul because he was presenting it as if, this equals that, right? And I didn't take it that way from you at all.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, we're getting juicy. We're getting juicy. And before we go on,
Abdul, I'm still coming for you, Abdul. I'm still coming for you. Trust, I'm still coming for you.
Coming for the guests. We're having a discussion. We're having a conversation.
I'm coming for him.
What I want to do, go for it. I'm going to say this. I am so happy, even though we didn't mention it at the beginning, that if you have a question and you want to join in on the conversation, visit and put your comments and questions in the chat. And right now, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the chat room that's going on here. From Jamila Johnson, we have Hey Family. Malika Jeffrey Zell, we have Hey. From Jamila, we have our first experience in a relationship comes from our parents. We either try to emulate it or do the opposite.
Oh,
and another comment from Jamila is the man can be the head, but the woman is the neck. This will be my 31st year of marriage, and you have to pick and choose your battles. And there is a time and place for everything. And then we also have, I think, creating a safe space to show your most vulnerable and worst side of you, as well as showing the best of yourself. And finally, we have, oh no, not finally, we got a bit going on here. Says, some men are very insecure and even jealous about a woman's success, meaning money, status, likability, and education. And we got a compliment. It was a great conversation. And from Malika, we have, in my experience, I meet 3 types of men. Men who are on my level, but are players. Men who make less than me and are intimidated. And men who make less than me and are looking to be taken care of. Real talk. The problem is, the real talk is too often when a Black man is successful, they marry a non-Black woman. Woo!
Data check, please. Data check. there's not enough empirical data to support that. Does it happen?
Right.
Yes. Wholesale, it's not enough data. Like
Yeah.
that's just a false narrative. And this is what you could see. Like you could see 7 athletes, right? But it's just not. It's not a high enough percentage to propagate that narrative.
Right.
And it's also a way to shame, because no one said anything about Serena Williams. I mean, I can name a long list, right, of sisters who are successful in their fields and marry white men, but no one's talking about that.
And so we're gonna get there. Listen, yeah. I want to acknowledge Amanda Montes de Oca. She said Angela started a mile ago, and this chat is moving now. And she said a mile ago talking, and she said about things, and don't let me start with a crying, laughing emoji. Now we're going to move on to the next subject. And it was brought up, and that conversation that you had before leads into the next topic, communication. The question is, what I'm going to find out is, what is the intention? Is it to be a back and forth? This is what we find a lot of in conversations with women and men. Is it a back and forth as opposed to a discussion seeking to find an agreement and resolution? Okay, thoughts on that? Let's go. Let's have at it. Who wants to start that one? Greg, you got something to say? You want to start it?
I'm gearing up, so let somebody else go, and I'll come right behind them.
All right, you got it. Hassan, you ready to go? You ready to go?
I was born ready.
Good.
Let's go.
Good.
So, can you post that again so I can make sure I answered it correctly?
Okay, we're speaking about communication and what is the intention? Is it to be what I'm finding, this is what I'm saying, I want you to tell me what you find. I find that there's a lot of, it's a back and forth as opposed to a discussion seeking to find an agreement and resolution. What are your thoughts?
For the most part, it's a venting session and it's victim Olympics. It's not necessary. It's not necessarily for a resolution, right? Because this conversation has been going. Now you're talking about in general or ours? In general, right?
In general,
in the world.
In general.
Yeah, in general, it's the victim Olympics. Who can jump the highest victim hurdle? Who can blame? Who can be the fastest blamer? Right? It's not necessarily like, okay, these are the issues. How can we resolve this? Right? Because the conversation, again, you have the proverbial finger point gun shooting at each other, and no real no real resolution. And I'm about solutions. So again, it's a lot simpler to handle, but it's been made complicated because people are in their feelings, and it's a lot easier to just victimize and blame somebody than it is to actually handle the problem. I'll leave it there.
Okay, Abdal.
Okay, well, as far as communication is concerned, I feel like this. My honest opinion, and I really can't take that as a serious issue. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not offended by what somebody wants their way. I'm not offended by how they come across to me about getting it like that. Okay, because I'm like this. I had to deal with my parents all the time as a child coming up, them trying to tell me what to do. And I was always thinking it was funny. So when I'm dealing with a woman and she's trying to come across strong to me about what she wants me to do some way or whatever, I think that's funny too. I won't do it in front of her face, but I'm really like laughing inside because that's the way I am. I can't help it. I mean, somebody could be serious about an issue, but I'm not taking it like that. Yeah, I can't help that. I mean, that's the way I am. I can't take everything serious. I mean, my parents screamed and hollered at me all day long, and I was wondering why they waste so much energy. You know, like I'm going to do stuff later, so you wasting time on this issue now. You know, so when a woman wants to make a point, I will 100% listen. If I don't have a problem with doing it the way she wants it done, I will do that, just so she can, you know, let it go. You know, so communication with me with a female is never an issue. Never had that as an issue either. Always listen, always attentive, but in the back of my heart, I might be cracking up, you know, because that's just the way I am. Everything to me is not serious.
Thanks for letting us know, Abdul.
Angela, I was coming to you. Go ahead, go for it. Go.
No, I'm sorry. No, let Abdul express himself so we can hear how he feels.
Well, Abdul did. That's all I'm saying. I'm asking you. All right. I know you have something to say, especially in response to Abdul. So I say, go for it. What you got to say? What are you saying?
You want me to answer?
No, you weren't answering. I'm talking to. Oh, you didn't get the answer. You felt that you didn't get the answer.
No, Abdul was continue. I just couldn't help it. I'm so sorry. I interrupted Abdul, but he needs to continue speaking. Go ahead, Abdul.
All right. No, you know, see, I'm the type of person that I can't be intimidated. That's impossible. You know, when you had parents like I did, nothing can intimidate you. You know what I mean? I listen to them over and over and over and wonder, why do they keep this up? Like, I walk in the house, they start hollering, screaming. And I said, that's not the way you talk to your kids. And my father used to say, no, but that's the way I'm talking to you. I said, oh, okay. So it was always comical to me. So when a woman, if she's upset about something, I try not to do it in front of her face, but I'm really inside laughing because she's so upset about something minor or something that can be handled another way instead of her hollering and screaming. Because, you know, I tell women like this, and I say it the first time. I say, the first time you come hollering and screaming at me, that's the last time you come hollering and screaming at me. I say, because I'm not going to deal with you no more. Because I'm like this. That's not the way to communicate. You can express your opinion. It's how you express it makes the difference. Be pleasant and don't be pushy about it. You can mention it, but don't insist. That's the way I feel.
Angela?
Say that again, Avon?
Oh, no. Would you care to respond and put your 2 cents in on this particular question?
I'm gonna see. Yeah, I have something to say. I'm gonna see Abdul behind stage. I got something for you, Abdul. I'm gonna check him out behind stage.
Audience, as you can see, these two here.
No, okay. No, seriously. No, seriously, here it is. First of all, men and women, well, according to Abdul, I see why single women, I see the problems with single women, just by what he just said. But that's neither here or there. But in terms of, I just feel like women and men just communicate. It's not about just blaming each other. It's about the way we communicate with each other. And John Gray, he said it best. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And he speaks about that in his book. You know, he's quoted several statistics and things of his research about how women and men communicate. So it's not about a blame game. It's just about the way we communicate different. And if we can respect our differences, then we can get past that. You know, like one of the things Abdul said, that a woman could address her concerns, but inside he's laughing at her. Now, according to just understanding how a woman is, if you understand the nature of a woman, when she comes to her man and she addressed something, and he laugh, and you know, she know if he's really how he really feel, whether he's laughing or not. That's hurtful. That would be hurtful. Okay. If you address something with your man and he just take it as a joke or whatever. So there, it's just about communicating and respecting each other. So that's what I believe. I believe it is. I don't know if I answered the question.
Okay. Yeah, but, you know, can I respond to that for a minute? No, let me explain something to you. It's
okay,
how.
But before he talk, yeah, Abdul, you said that. Let me just reiterate what Abdul said. He said that a woman would talk to him. I want everyone. This is recorded. Okay, this is a historic moment right now. Okay, this is recorded. Abdul said that a woman would come to him with some issues, whatever the issue is, and he said he don't take it that serious. He will laugh. Okay, he will laugh, and he might not laugh in her face.
Right.
But in his heart and his spirit, he is laughing. He is thinking it's a joke. That's what you said, Abdul.
Yes.
Abdul,
and it depends
that's what you said.
Yeah, but it depends on what the issue is and the way she comes at me about that. See, that makes the difference. If she comes with a temperament, you know, it's funny. I mean, really, why are you getting upset? And, you know, you could just bring this out without getting all upset about it. But if she's all upset, then that makes me laugh. I mean, you know, it does. I mean, it's comical to me because it reminds me of my mother and father. They did this all the time, and I found them to be like a comedy team. You know, they always amused me every time they had to say something to me. It would automatically make me start laughing that they're even talking to me. Let me explain something to you my father said to me one time. When I was 7 years old, my father said, Junior, don't you get tired of making me and your mother mad at you? I got up out of my seat. I said, this man has lost his mind. I said, Dad, can I speak freely? He said, yeah, son, go ahead. I said, why would I care about you and Mommy being mad at me? And I left out. You know, that's the way I always was.
Amazing. It's amazing you survived this long, Abdul. It's amazing.
Greg, please. Greg, step in, help us, please. Greg,
well, I'm right now sit back, I'm observing, I'm listening to this all these different viewpoints. I think they're all pretty good and things like that. So, you know, Ann just said some pretty good points. Abdul said some good things. Brother Hassan said some pretty enlightening things. So I mean, everything so far is self-explanatory based on the way they've all pulled it together. So I just think, I would just expound on just saying, communication is key, and that's the whole thing. And again, because we are from different, you know, cloths, we come from different cloths. Basically, that's why you're always gonna have that problem. But again, you know, once you come out full circle, you know, you can just pretty much pull it together. So, you know, I think everybody so far had pretty good viewpoints.
Okay. So listen, okay, we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to stay on this communication thing here. Now, this is part 2 to that. What I'm putting on the table is now, how should we speak to each other? Is it going to be an inspirational, motivational type of speak instead of an emasculating, tearing down of self-esteem, belittling? Example of inspirational, motivational starting of a conversation is, can you please help me with? Or do you mind helping me do this? Or what are your thoughts on this? As opposed to the opposite of, you better ... you never ... or you always ... blank, fill in the blank or whatever. What are your thoughts to this? Because that is a challenge that we seem to have in the community and the way we speak to each other. Hassan, you want to start us off with that?
Sure. It goes back to values, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're in a relationship with somebody, it should be rooted in love, you know, which out of love comes respect, comes trust, right? And so if somebody's bringing something to you that you're in a relationship with, you know, obviously there's a way to bring it, but you know, sometimes people could be in their feelings and they can be a little overexcited. You know, sometimes you give people the benefit of the doubt and try to calm them down and have a civilized conversation. If that doesn't happen, then you know you have to figure out a way to de-escalate it. But the bottom line is like, you know, respect is a two-way street. You know, there's not a one-way street of respect. It's not like, you know, oh, only this person should be, only a man should be respected, or only a woman should be respected. It has to be rooted in values, and it has to be respect on both ways, or else you guys don't need to be in a relationship.
Very good. Okay, Greg, thoughts?
Say one more time. What is it? Say it again.
Well, we're addressing how should we speak to each other. There's two things that are going on out here today when we speak to each other. There is an inspirational and a motivational type of speaking. And then there's the emasculating, tearing down of self-esteem and belittling. Examples of inspirational is, or motivational is, can you please help me with blank?
Yes.
Or
you know,
what are your thoughts on blank? As opposed to the examples of the belittling and tearing down of self-esteem is, you better blank, or you never do blank, 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 or you always blank, blank, blank. What are your thoughts?
I basically think it probably goes back to what people have been through in their life, past experiences and things like that. So, you know, all depending on the person's personality, characteristics, what they've been through, you know, and that's basically when you're dealing with this particular person, if this person is your partner, if they're going to be your potential partner and things like that.
Somebody could be serious about it.
Say again. I didn't. Excuse me.
No, I'm sorry, that was me by mistake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. No, so I'm thinking like, you know, with all an individual, because you know you do got people who do have low self-esteem issues and things like that, issues of self-hatred, things like that. So you know, basically it really goes, it boils down to understanding a person's personality, what, like I said, what they've been through and stuff like that, because communication always goes back to that communication, and of course, what the brother said previously, the values of an individual, you know, how people get offended, how they don't get offended, you know, stuff like that. So basically it's just you know, I just think that what it really boils down to, again, how a person expects to be treated. You know, that's pretty much basically it. But the respect always has to be there, because I mean there's been cases where when you try to talk to somebody, and you could come off, you could try to be as you could be respectful as possible, but then they just don't take it that way, you know, and they may just get offended at it and stuff like that. You got to come around and explain to them that basically wasn't the intention, because again, you can be what they call assertive. You could be an assertive person and you can come across 100% where your intentions are correct and everything, but the person will perceive it wrong, and before you know it, now you have a problem. You know what I mean? Sometimes people have issues when it comes down to accepting communication, when it comes to that, from that you know, that from that viewpoint. So you know, again, it's just it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of patience. It's so many different components in that situation revolving around, and then basically ego it has to be completely blotted out, because you got people that are like that. You got people who, you know, while you're being assertive, they'll take it like you being egotistical, and they'll take it the wrong way. So you know, it just basically it falls back on humility, respect, and you know, a certain meaning of love, because you got 6 different definitions. So you know, when it comes to that, you got to be careful there. So you know, but again, just make sure when you dealing with this individual, make sure that you know you're coming out in a way where the intentions are for the benefit of solution, if that makes sense, you know?
Mhm. Okay. Angela?
Well, in terms of communication, we just take the basics, like I think it's Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, and how to win friends and influence people. If we just know how to do communication, if we just communicating with people on a basic level, everyone we come into contact with, and we understand that that's an opportunity to develop our communication, it'll be much easier to transfer those skills into your relationships. Um, so that's one thing. Another thing is, like I said, is learning the opposite sex that you with, learning the communication. For a woman, learning how men communicate. One of the things that John Gray said, and if those of you don't know who John Gray is, he's a psychologist, and he deals with a lot of relationship issues and communications between men and women. He said that, like for instance, a man might, he might feel some type of way of a woman if he go to his woman and just be talking to his woman and she try to solve his problems. He might don't want her to solve his problem. He might want her just to listen. So he might take it personal if she start giving him advice or whatever. So it might be different for him because that's not the way he's built for that, he just might want to just talk. So it's about a couple of things: learning the nature of the person you're with, and also learning the person themselves of who you with. A woman, learning the man that you're with, how he communicate, listening and understanding, his language, and that's how you can, begin that process. But communication is not only in relationship; it's a communication, a lack of communication going on, various aspects of our lives, in our jobs. Look at how we text each other. When you texting each other, you could text somebody something and you mean one thing and it could turn into a fight. How many times stuff on social media happen just by the lack of communication? And so communication is serious because it's not only a relationship problem, it's a human problem that we have, that we have to tighten up. So it's a skill, we have to constantly work on so we could communicate with each other, respectfully, honestly, and being able to understand each other. But Ivan, I wanted to ask you, so how does that tie into the single girl, the single girl problems?
The single girl challenge? Well,
Yeah, single girl
this
challenge.
I would say this: we're talking about what are some of the challenges that women have, and we're talking about interrelating and these type of things. A large challenge is we don't know how to speak to each other. Like you said, we don't know how to speak to each other in general. And then if you're talking about being in a relationship with a man, we definitely have some challenges with that, because that's a lot of things that you hear. Oh, well, we got men here, so I don't want to speak for them. I'll let them speak for themselves. But
No, you were going fine. Keep going.
What I'm noticing is not everyone, I'm not speaking in absolutes, but there's a large number of women that do not, I would say, address a man.
Use the R word, D. Use the R word. Respect. Do it for Aretha Franklin. You was gonna say it. Respect.
All right. They're not respectful. They're not respectful. They're just tearing down whatever. And first of all, I, as a person, if the way that some women speak to these men out here, and they were speaking to me in that tone and that matter, we're gonna have an issue. We're gonna have an issue. Look, I do not promote violence, but my thing is, I be ready to pop somebody in the mouth. What, how dare you speak to me this way? I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm speaking to you respectfully. So I don't want to hear the rah-rah and this and that, and you this, and because what's going on and what I see there is that's that I again. That me, and what you need to be doing for me. Look at my expressions and how I'm moving, the rolling of the neck, and you, and you better, and you got to, and I deserve this and that. They say, what does he deserve? You know what I'm saying? Where is the balance in that? That's what I say to that. It's like, where is the balance? Everybody needs respect. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm just give you all the teaser. Oh, we didn't even get to the spicy points yet. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But in answer to your question, I hope I answered your question. Those are my thoughts. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Look, did we hear from our friend Abdal? And Abdal, don't let me come for you. Don't let me come and get you.
We already know how Abdal feels, but go ahead. Abdal is very communicating. We already know he's how Abdal communicates, but go ahead, Abdal.
Abdal, before you say something,
go ahead.
Let me correct myself.
No, you don't have to.
No. Let me say this. I said that with love, Abdal.
I know you do. I know you do.
And Avon, and just as a reminder, he's laughing behind his back. He's laughing at you behind his back. Just as a reminder.
Yeah. I'm a serious person.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Abdal. Go ahead. What you got to say?
Now, you know what? When two people communicate, I always believe they should always be respectful. And the other thing is to always be calm. You know, don't come in with an attitude and expect a response to that, because some people don't always respond the right way. Never be confrontational and never insist on anything. Mention it, you know, and then you'll get it done if that's what you want. If that's the main thing, getting something done. You know, because see, some men, they're never intimidated, but they get bothered by how women come off to them sometimes. Like that, you know, like you're their child. I said, you know, you talk to your children like that, but don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? And that's the way some men feel. And I feel that way too, because women sometimes forget themselves. They forget that, you know, this is an adult you're talking to, not a child. I'm not your child. I'm not your son. You know, and you got to address a male, and a man got to do the same thing with a female. I mean, you got to address them appropriately, and then you'll get something worked out. But it's how you do it that makes the difference. The tone you use, the words you use, and the expression on your face if you're face to face. On the phone now, I wouldn't even discuss nothing with nobody on the phone. If they got something to say, we're going to say it in person, not on the phone, because that's not going to work out. You know, somebody going to call me up and then tell me, oh, no, that's not going to work. You know, wait till you see me, then tell me. But it's always be respectful is number one, and the tone you use and the words you use, you know, and then you can communicate with somebody where it's going to benefit the two of you, you know, with love too. You know, I forgot to throw that word in there, you know.
Okay. Did you put your 2 cents in? Did you chime in on this particular question?
I most certainly did. I'm fine.
Okay. I'm just checking. I don't want to be disrespectful and overlook anyone here. We're not going to have a repeat of the last time. I want to address everyone and let everybody get their thoughts in. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Go ahead. Oh, you good? Okay. All right, I want to pose this to you. I would like, this is what I'm posing to the panel. What is your description of, or your understanding of, feminine and masculine energy? Are we ready for this? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, smart. And since we're ready to go, we're gonna start with you, and then Hassan, you chime in after him. Go ahead, Abdal.
Okay. What was the question again? Because I forgot that stuff bad.
Look at you playing games and don't even know what the question is. You know what? You know what? I said, what is your understanding of feminine and masculine?
Okay. Got you.
Yeah, and there needs to be a balance. Go for it. Go ahead.
Well, the feminine energy coming from a female is man, that's like it's compared. That's like what do you call those things? Yeah. Hold on there. I'm trying to compare it with what I'm thinking, and it's like volcano. Okay, when you talk about when a woman is coming out at you, it's like volcanoes coming at you, you know, and a man should at that time back down and let her finish till she cools off. You know what I mean? And a man's masculinity should never come. It should never be that. First of all, I don't think it should be a male-female confrontation like that. It should never be like that. It should be the two people trying to work some issue out. You know what I mean? It should never be confrontational. It should never be upsetting to either party. It should be pleasant, the best you can make it. Even if somebody's upset or both parties upset, you know, try to do it in a pleasant way. You know, because it's like, there's no exaggeration. It is almost impossible to upset me. You know why? I had the hardest parents in the world, and I thought it was always a joke. And I feel that way today. When the woman comes at me, if she comes at me right, I'll take what she says serious. But if she comes at me woofing, you know, I can't help it. It's funny, you know. While she's talking, I'm thinking about all this funny stuff because I tell jokes all the time, and I'm thinking about maybe I could use this as a joke, you know, tell somebody else. And
can I make a joke for a minute there, Abdul?
Yeah, go ahead, babe.
The question was your understanding of feminine and masculine energy. I want your understanding of it. That's what I'm asking you.
Okay.
He said it. He said that the woman act like a volcano. He said it.
Yeah,
you got to listen
right.
to Abdul.
He said act like a volcano, but he went somewhere else. He went off yonder somewhere.
You got to listen to Abdul. I listen to him.
I'm listening to Abdul. That's why I interjected.
If you need me to interpret if y'all need me to interpret all of saying, I would be more than happy to do that.
That's what I want from you.
No, we can wait. We can finish. No, I could wait. I just wanted to say that. I could wait though, because we can go to Hassan and everything like that. But I can wait. But go ahead.
Okay. Did you understand what I just asked you?
Right. Yeah, and that's why I said, you know, woman coming off like that is like a volcano. You know, that's her energy. That's really her energy.
Very good. So, what is the masculine energy?
Well, masculine, you know, a real man that ain't gotta put himself up there nowhere. He's like grazing in the wind. You know what I mean? He's out there, but he's everywhere. You know, he's like the wind that you can feel, but you can't see it. That's the way I feel masculine energy is. It's everywhere at one time, but you know it's there, you can feel it, but you can't see it. And that's the way he should carry himself when he's dealing with a female, you know, against her energy, because she's coming at you very hard. A lot of women like to come off like that because, I don't know, maybe because they had bad relationships at home or a bad relationship previously. You know, sometimes women carry, let me get to that point. Sometimes women carry their old relationship into the new one. You know what I mean? As soon as she get mad about something, she gonna start coming at the man like he did stuff from before. And it's not, you know, that's not even the issue. You know,
Okay,
women sometimes.
I'm raising my hand, Abdal.
Okay.
We're going off a little bit. Where are we going? Okay,
Right.
so what we heard you say initially, okay, we're gonna hold it. We're gonna
Okay.
hold that right there. Okay, Hassan, do you understand what the question was, or do you need me to
Yes,
repeat it?
I understand. So
Go for it.
again, these are more words that uh, have been recently taken out of context, and this comes up in the conversation because there is an imbalance, right? But when we're talking about feminine, we're talking about pertaining to of qualities traditionally related to a female. When we talk about masculine, it's pertaining to qualities traditionally related to a male, right? Now men and women have both qualities. It's just females have a higher percentage of feminine energy, and where men have a higher percentage of masculine energy. Unfortunately, there are some things in life, some scenarios, experiences that are going to lead you farther in one or the other. And unfortunately, if somebody has, for example, a man having a higher percentage of masculine energy, if something is leading a man to a feminine side of his energy in an extreme situation, there becomes an imbalance, and the man could be out of character. The same could be said for a
Female.
woman. And so the reason why this whole thing is coming up is because there are men and women alike that are using these things out of context and operating in a space that's unnatural to their biology, right?
Very, very good. You want to add any more to that, or
Just
Yeah.
basically, if we just kind of accept this for what it is from a natural state, from a biological state, there will be a lot less confusion, and we don't have to keep bringing these things up. You 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 know, by nature, you don't have to ask a man to be masculine, and by nature, you don't have to ask a woman to be feminine. They are, right. It's like saying, oh, I'm not human, but if in the right situation, I'll become a human, right? It's like, no, you're human, right? If you're acting outside of that, then that's your choice, or it may be a situation that called for you to act out of character, but that situation spawns you to act out of character, but it's not normal, right? In nature, right? If you remove the world and you're just in nature, there are certain things you're going to do and certain things you wouldn't do. Like if we talk about biology, for an example, in relation to this, everybody does a number one, right? Which we call urination, right? Everybody
Mhm.
has a number one. There's no point in your life where you say, yeah, you know what? For the next 2 days, I'm not going to go to the bathroom, right? It's unnatural, and the same is with feminine and masculine energy for men and, and women alike. These are natural things. When you get away from them, that's on you, right? It's gonna cause an issue.
Very good, very good. Greg, do you have any thoughts? What is your um understanding of feminine and masculine energy?
I think it all goes back to the traits of the concepts. So when you look at the traits of masculinity, which always revolves around things like it revolves around things like ambition, wealth, and stuff like that. And versus the feminine that's more spiritual and nurture, and with the perspective of being very uh has more, it's more nurturing. It points towards more nurturing. So with that being said, you know yeah, what the brother was saying is that to some degree we both got the same traits, you know what I mean. From the perspective of being a human being, I'd rather deal with somebody, a female who has a very nurturing and caring spirit, and a very compassionate, nurturing spirit. And I would love to be the one that, and this is the thing, when I say this, I don't want to take this out of context. Um, I would love to always be the one that has a very ambitious mindset and things like that, because I always want to bring forth the understanding and let that person know that I'm willing to be the full circle provider. That and all they would have to just do is have that compassion and that nurturing spirit towards me, while I'm doing the best I can to make everything right for them, pretty much. And that's basically it. And that's just it. Just goes through, and that just revolves around the traits of what we have as human beings. pretty much.
Okay, very good. Angela? Woohoo! Angela, are you there? Okay, our
Can you
co-host.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. But me, masculine energy means warrior instincts. It means hunting. Um, it means gathering. It means basically um aggression, not in a negative way. Okay. It means did I say warrior spirit, aggression, um leadership, s- things like that. When I think of war, I think of men, right? In terms of the feminine energy, I think of someone who's nurturing, someone whose spirit is softer, understanding, compassion, um, uplifting, motivating, um, less serious. All right. So when I think of the man, the masculine, it's more stern and nothing. I'm not saying it in a negative way. Okay. Because you need both. All right. To have that balance. Okay. Because it's nothing worse than seeing a man laugh all the time. Like, what is wrong with this dude? Like, so, I want to see some seriousness. That means, he's not messing around. Like, I don't like to see men just laughing all the time and just joking and playing all the time. So it's a place for that. So I think if it's not taken out of content, they both will interact perfectly. That's what it's there for. I'm gonna give you an example. Like, say now, right? They have transgender woman, right? I think that's men that turned into who say they turned into women, right? Now, they nature, right? Even though they say they a woman, it's to hijack woman spaces because the masculine energy is in them. So there's like, no, we can have, we got uteruses too. Like they just taking over like the whole female, aura. Okay. I mean, spaces. It's like bullying, the
Yeah.
bulliness. You get what I'm saying? That's the male nature. Okay. You very seldom hear. Okay, and also, and I'm just giving, this is just a small example. Like with the women's sports, right? You see men, they come in, they dominate. Like, we take it over. How about that? What y'all gonna do? In other words, right? What are you gonna do? We taking over. We say we woman, that's what it is. We say we got a uterus, that's what it is. That's a, that's a sign of aggression, which has masculine traits, right? So you don't see, unless y'all can, maybe y'all got some statistics on this, but they've been doing it where women go into male dominated sports or football and say, you know what, I'm a man, I'm taking over. How about that? No. Okay, because it's not really in our nature to do that. Even though you might have women, and you do have women who act masculine, because like Hassan said, we do have those traits. But more, if it's going to tend to move heavy towards what you were biologically born with. So that's the differences that I've seen and observed and read about, and based on biology. It's just the difference. So men tend to be more aggressive, more takeover type of situation. More, that's why you hear, oh, I'm being a leader in my house. I'm willing to die. I'm willing to, you understand, more warrior type of mentality, more dominant mentality.
Okay. Okay. My thoughts of or my understanding of the masculine and feminine energy is that the feminine energy, to me, there's a whole list of things, but I'm going to make it brief because we got more things that we want to go into. Is she's the it's a nurturing energy, it's a healing energy, and it's a creative energy. And I find, and as far as for the masculine energy, that that's a providing energy. It's more than just money. It's providing of many things, you know. So I'm going to keep that brief, but I'm saying his energy is a protective energy, so that the feminine energy, so she can thrive and do what it is that she needs to do. So that is my understanding, you know, briefly of the difference between these two energies here. Okay, so the next question. So somebody wanted to say something?
Yeah,
Hassan, go ahead, Hassan.
I just want to thank Angela for keeping words in context and using words in their original form and not, you know, making them negative. So I just want to thank you for that, because that matters, right? You know, people in this today's society automatically just take a word and just say, oh, it's bad, particularly if it may be associated to a masculine energy, like the word aggressive, you know, where it's just a word, right? It can be in the wrong direction, but in general, it's just describing a type of behavior and emotion. So I just want to thank you for that, Angela.
Oh, you're welcome. Sure, you're welcome.
Okay.
Because it
Does
is a
anybody?
difference. It's, you know, when we look at a, listen, we might can say men is this and men is that, but it is majority of men that's out here fighting for this country, right? The very reason why we in United States here, and I'm speaking on behalf, I'm speaking in terms of with women, I'm speaking to the spirits of women, that we can say this and we can say that, but it's these men that allowing us to go to sleep at night and get a good night rest, and put their lives on the front line, who have wives, who have children, who have daughters, sisters and mothers. So I try not to take it out of content, because I'm not going to war if I don't have to. Okay, so kudos to those who are on the front line, that when I go to sleep, I don't have to always worry about getting bombed, because there's people out there, men out there, that's being a protector. So that energy do come into play, and I respect that energy. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, I also respected that I'm not going to try to go against it using, you know, using the masculine traits that women, like you said, Hassan, we do have one feminine and masculine energy. I'm not going to use that to try to get what I want from a man. I'm not going to use that if I don't really have to, unless I'm in my life is in danger or something. So it is a time and place how we use and like you said, how we use these words and these phrases, and how we express ourselves, so it won't come out off as negative. And that's how we can begin to have positive conversations and uplift each other as men and women.
Okay. Hassan, this is another thank you, Angela, for your thoughts there in response to Hassan. Hassan, there was someone in the chat, Amanda said, feminine, masculine energy, Hassan's favorite topic. I just thought you'd want to know that. And we got our chat in here strong, and these are their thoughts, and I just wanted to acknowledge them on that. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that. All right. The next question is, and this is the women will answer for themselves, not in guessing for this is individuals. We're talking to you directly, and then the men will answer for themselves. Okay. The question on the table is, how do you expect to show up? How do you expect to show up in a relationship? Okay, anybody want to start that one? Who's the brave one who wants to start that conversation?
Okay, I'll start if you want.
All right.
Go ahead, Abdul.
Okay. Well, first of all, before you get to a relationship, you should be friends first. That's why a lot of relationships get screwed up. They don't take the friendly part first, become friends first, and take it from there and let it mature into something else. Because I've seen many people get in relationships with people and they did it all wrong. Like, not my way ain't always the right way, but I'm just saying you should be friends before you become lovers. Okay, so that's the mistake see, a lot of people, women are looking for relationships right off the door, right out the back. They're looking for that. And I think that's wrong. Think to be friends with this person before you want to be their woman. Okay, take them as a friend first. Y'all hang, see how things work out, and then you take it, let it progress from there. You know what I mean? That's how I look at life. You know what I mean? And that's how I've always handled any woman I ever dealt with. Only one was an exception. She wasn't my girlfriend, the girl I married, Lorraine, was married for a couple of years till she finished school, then got divorced. I told her from the beginning, before she was even my girlfriend, I asked one question and she answered it right. I said, "What are your plans after high school?" She said, "Well, I want to go to college so I could be a school teacher." I said right then and there, I said, "Well, I'm going to marry you and I'm going to send you to college." And that's what I did. I never said nothing about we going to have any kids or anything like that. That was not my thoughts. My thought was only to marry this girl, which I did, send her to college, make sure she got the job she wanted in Philadelphia, but not in New Jersey. And because I always knew it was going to end and she's going to move back to Philadelphia. She already knew. I planned it ahead of time. And it worked out. It benefited her, and that was the main thing. It benefited her life. And that's what I wanted to do. So that's what people should do. Have friendship first before ever relationship. And, before a woman lays up with a man, I think she should consider many things first. She should consider his health, his mindset, and what does she expect from him?
Okay, Abdul, the question was, how do you expect to show up in the relationship? That was the question.
Okay. I got all. Okay.
Do?
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is dealing with a woman is like I'm gonna be a friend first because I don't want to be everybody's boyfriend, and that's how I'm going to show up as a man, and I'm going to do things. And no offense, I don't hope you don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to do things my way. You know what I mean? And if she don't like that, she ain't got to deal with me. You know what I mean? That's the way I am, and that's the way I'm going to stay. If a woman don't like the way I do things, then she just don't have to deal with me. I'm not going to switch up and change on her because I'm not going to go along with things I don't go along with. So I'm always going to be the same person all the time. If she got relatives don't like me, I ain't going to be around them. I'm not trying to be pleasant towards everyone that don't want me around or don't like me for some reason, and I'm always going to be the same person I am today as I was yesterday. So it's always going to be the same with me all the time, and as far as seriousness is concerned, I'll only go as far as being serious as I want to or as I have to. And that's all I expect from her. Same thing. Be yourself.
Okay. Hassan?
So
Please tell us why you
Oh,
laughing,
boy.
Hassan, first.
Oh man, half down.
Uh-huh.
I ain't gonna mess with that right now. I ain't gonna mess with that, man.
Please do,
All
please.
right, you know what? You know what?
Go ahead,
I mean,
Hassan.
you just basically said you're gonna be Frank Sinatra, and it's gonna be your way or the highway, but
Right.
that doesn't necessarily coincide with the woman being a leader or the man not being the head of household. So it was a little tricky there,
That's
Abdal.
what. Thank
You know,
you, Hassan. That's what I'm glad
there's
you.
there's
Right.
a lot of cap going on here.
Thank you.
So you know what I mean? Like
Right.
hey,
Right.
I can stand behind you, but you remember
Right,
with
Hassan. Now
Bush
you see what I'm
Bush
talking about, Hassan.
and what was it, Bush and what was the guy with the short arms that was the vice president when he was saying don't be a flip
Um.
flopper, you know. But in any event, how I show up authentically, everything for me is value driven. If I'm gonna be in a relationship, everything is my constitution, which is my values. I base everything from there. And like I said, if my values, I'm gonna put them first. That's how I'm presenting and I'm showing up through my values. And if that's not enough, I take my stuff and I just keep it moving.
Okay. Greg, your thoughts?
How I'm going to show up like in the relationship? You're saying? What was the question again?
Correct. That is the question. How do you expect to show up in a relationship?
What I probably would do is based on my past experiences, definitely learn from all of my mistakes, and so this way I don't have to make those mistakes again. To be very correctful, that's that's first and foremost, and and then take it from there, because at the end of the day you have to have a learning experience before you even encounter anything. So just look at all the bad things, all of the past things that I've done in the past that has reflected upon my future thus far, and just hope not to make those same mistakes again. And if I do see myself going in that direction, to try to correct myself, or if I have to explain myself, and then also put certain things at the forefront first, so they can understand where I'm coming from, what I've been through, and things like that. To try to keep everything on the table, and so everyone can, everything's all the cards are on the table, so they can get a better understanding. Because this way, themselves can determine if they even want to deal with me on that note or not. You know what I mean? I think that's a very good way of presenting myself as an individual who's about to come into a relationship or a situation to where it's going to be a joint thing, and stuff like that. I think that's just the best way to do it, to learn from past experiences, because past experiences are key. I always tell people all the time, but I usually tell people, especially younger people, I'll give you an example. A lot of times when I'm talking to a lot of young ladies that I encounter that has either uh, dealt with baby mama situations or just young brothers, or sisters, every so often I'll tell them, if you're in your 20s or if you're coming out of high school, you're in your 20s and you're already going through certain things, right? It's best for you to kind of mess up and go through all of those cycles at this point in your early 20s. So by the time you hit your late 20s going into your 30s, you've already been there. You've already been through the boot camp of life, or halfway there, and then from that point you can start kind of determining what you want to do as you're getting a little older, because you've already been through the people whispering sweet nothings, or people just bringing smoking mirrors to you and things like that, things that you thought was going to work. Because at the end of the day, that's experience. These are things that you learn from. These are the things that will help you prosper into that person or that individual that you want to be. So this way, by the time you get into your elder state, it doesn't have to be this way anymore. That's just my personal position on the way I see things like that. So at the end of the day, it's just going through the boot camp, getting the stripes, just like how me being a person who deals with the scriptures, which no one's really mentioned throughout the day, and not trying to make it a biblical thing, but I do also base that upon my faith, and that's why a lot of times when I'm talking to people, when it comes down to these particular situations, I always use me as a situation. I always use my faith as a situation, and I tell them repentance and things like that. or the process of change is one thing, but change is one thing, but the process of changing is something totally different. And most people are not aware of that. So a lot of times I talk to people all the time. We think everything is sunshine and lollipops. No, it's not. It's about heartache and pain, because that's what conforms you into that individual that's ready to kind of comply and do the right thing, so that other person can get that better understanding as for who you are. And this is the way you pull it together for the benefit of solution. That's my position.
Okay, very good, very good. Angela?
Oh, well, to show up in a relationship, I will do my best to let my principal morals and values lead the way, in terms of being, um, I will lead with that. One of the things I do agree with Abdul is just to get to know a person first, to see if they even have the basics, um, and just, learning about a person, and just showing up to be the best version of myself and being honest with myself, um, and, doing the best that I could, being the best person that I could.
I agree. I personally would want to show up as my best self. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying my perfect self, because that's a long time in the making. I'm working towards that, but I'm not perfect. So I understand that already. But I would want to show up as my best self. Um, I want to be respectful, honest. I want to be inspirational and motivational to my partner. I would like to encourage him, yes, to lead and to be his best self and bring out the best in him. So those are some of the things that, in the ways that I would want to show up. There's more, but that's to put it briefly,
So,
what I want to do. Go ahead.
um,
What were you
would,
saying?
would you agree? Would you agree to that being I mean, like when you look at yourself in the elder age or where we are today, um, wouldn't that take? I mean, that would take a life experience. That would take certain things that you have been through in your past to get to this point. For you to bring forth your best self, you have had to go through. Would have had to go through certain phases to bring you to that point, so to speak. You understand? I mean, doesn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense?
That is correct. But
No, no,
the thing is,
right.
go
That's
ahead. Go
what.
ahead. What were you saying?
Huh?
No, no, you were saying something else. Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt
No,
you.
no, no. I was just saying that not to credit to both of you ladies and what you just said. So that's one of the reasons why I was trying to emphasize on past experience is really the best teacher. Learning from your mistakes and not letting the mistake teach you the lesson, because this way now when you're at the forefront dealing with this individual, those past life experiences have now put you in that position to now lay the cards on the table, because now they can pretty much see it as per you narrating what you've been through. You know what I mean?
Well,
Right. And
Greg, she said, I'm sorry, Ava, let me just, what
Yeah, go
she
ahead.
said, what the question was, is that how you going to show up?
Right. Yes, I know. I understand
Um,
the. So for you to show up, how what I was addressing what she just said, for you to show up as your best as the best person that you want to be, from the perspective of being motivational. I'll give you an example just by what she just said. If you're even going to be a person to motivate somebody, you've had to, somewhere in your past life, you've had to come from some level of ignorance to get to this point. Because like me, I tell people all the time, people who consider me a person that has a lot of knowledge, I tell people all the time, I had to be a very ignorant and toxic person for me to be the person I am today, and that's what it had to be. You understand? If that makes sense, you know what I mean? I mean,
but
it
that's
really.
not always the case. That's not always the case. You can learn from other people's mistake, and that's the best teacher. By instead of you
Well, no.
going through it yourself,
Well,
I
see,
wouldn't want. If I see if I have $1 million, right, and I would want to learn from the person who knew how to keep their $1 million. And I would also want to learn from the person who didn't keep it, but I wouldn't want to
Right.
lose it to learn that lesson on how to lose my $1 million. So sometimes a lot of times that's the whole purpose of being, for us teaching our children. You don't want to go through what I'm going through. So let me teach you this now. I'm going to teach you, and you learn it from this way instead of going through the brutal experiences of turmoil.
No,
It don't always have to be that way.
No.
Right.
I think you're missing. I think you're missing. Go ahead. Yvonne, go ahead.
No, all I want to say to build on that is, yes, one of the what is also good is to be open and willing to listen and to learn from others. You don't have all the answers, and you gotta take in. No. You didn't say anything wrong, and I understand what you were saying. I just wanted to add on saying something else that is also necessary is you got to be open and willing to learn, because when you're closed off and think that you know everything, that's when you find out you don't know everything.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That becomes a serious problem. You're right about that.
And then you may as
well.
And
a lot of people is masochistic. Like they just like the pain, and then they learn to give me pain so I can learn. Right. Give me pain.
That's like when you what's the individual that when you're dealing with somebody with God complex, that's probably one of the worst kind of individuals that you can deal with, because you can't tell them nothing. You know what I mean?
Correct. Hassan, you want to say something?
What I was going to say to Brother Greg, you are correct. The distinction Angela was trying to bring to your attention is that experience is a great teacher. It's not always the best teacher. Sometimes learning from other people's mistakes is also a great teacher. An example with the $1 million is a great example. Another example is you don't have to experience that heroin is bad to know by seeing somebody leaned over that it's not a good look. So there are many great teachers. They may, one may be the best in a certain scenario, but not across the board, was a distinction she was making.
So question for you, brother. So basically what I was just saying to both of them, right? Because in retrospect, what Angela said and what Yvonne said was basically what I was pretty much trying to narrate.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So
yes.
That was the whole point. I was kind of trying to pull it together, because I think we were all saying the same thing. We were just wording it differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is you were on point. Angela was making a distinction for you, saying that experience is not necessarily the best teacher. It's a great teacher. We should agree. But she's saying also learning from other people's mistakes is a great teacher as well. You don't always have to go through the pain, right? To get to the lesson. There's different ways to get to the same destination, which is what we all just did.
Well, that's true. I know. I couldn't agree with you more. I totally agree.
Okay. Now listen. Now we're coming to this point in the show where we're gonna go to the hot button questions here. That we're gonna get spicy here, and I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. To tell you quite honestly, a lot of these questions could have been hot button questions for people, because people were willing to go at it. And also the chat, you put in your thoughts on what I'm about to ask. Okay, the first hot button question is, in a relationship, who do you consider to be the prize, the man or the woman? Okay, who wants to start that one?
I'll start it.
Go ahead, Abdul.
Yeah, it's always the woman.
Okay, go ahead. All right, I gotta hold myself together. Go ahead, Abdul.
Cut me up. Go ahead. No, cut me up, Angie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Abdul. Go ahead, Abdul. I'm gonna let you take the floor, Abdul. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was going to say. No, I believe that the woman is always the prize. I mean, it's a man's quest in life to have that certain somebody that he can love, share his time with, and give himself to. And very few people ever come across that. You know what I mean? Some people look for that in every person they come across, and that's not always there. It's always that special somebody, and that's the prize. That woman is always the prize. It ain't never a prize for a woman to have the man. It's the opposite. It's the man to have the woman. That is the prize.
Now, Abdul earlier said that. wait. Hassan, and I know Hassan agrees. Hassan, we gotta say something about this, Hassan. Hassan is dying over there, want to say something. First of all, because Hassan is seeing what I'm seeing, hearing what I'm hearing. Okay. First, Abdul said he don't care what the chicks say. He is her way, like Hassan said, like he said about Frank Sinatra. Abdul said, listen, it's his way or the highway. So we already know Abdul believe he's the prize. Okay. Abdul says,
No,
Abdul,
no, I don't feel like
Abdul, you said that it's the highway or no, your way or the highway, Abdul.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel that
Abdul,
way
be
about females.
honest. This is
No,
let
I'm
it go,
being
Abdul.
honest.
Just be honest with us.
I'm the
Hassan,
first
please.
person. You know
Hassan,
something? I'll be the first
express
person
it.
that would take a woman to the dollar store. I'll be the first one to do that.
You see what
That,
I'm saying, Abdul?
that's not making it
That
better.
right there, Abdul?
That's
Right,
not making it better.
Right.
That's not helping.
Right, Hassan. You see what I'm saying, Hassan?
Oh man.
Hassan, what you got to say to that? Hassan, what do you
The
Oh,
dollar
God.
store, Abdul.
we going
Wow,
there. We gonna go
Abdul.
there tonight. Go ahead, Hassan.
Oh man. Oh God. All right.
Abdul said the dollar store, not the dollar store. But I'm not surprised because he said he wouldn't spend $25 on a woman's pocketbook.
Mm,
That's what he said.
mm. So
Wow.
let me first address the question that's on the table, which in of itself is a landmine.
There you go.
Right, it's a landmine.
Yes.
Right? This is where the spice, the cayenne pepper, the ghost pepper, the Scotch bonnet. Right, this one is spicy. So I don't necessarily. You could say if it's a relationship, right? You can say both the man and the woman could be the prize, depending on what each of them are going into it, right? You know, I mean, with today's society where everybody gets a trophy, that's one way to look at it. But it's just about community, which is a common unity of what two people are coming together for, right? Both people could win. It's not necessarily one is greater than the other, right? Sometimes that is the case, right? It varies depending on the situation, but it becomes dangerous because this becomes to pedestalizing someone and making things unrealistic to say someone's a prize. It's also a form of objectivity to turn somebody into an object versus a human, and so it becomes the eye starts coming into the thing because it's like basically one person feeling like they're more valuable than the other person, or also showing, hey, the other person doesn't have value. So I think it's dangerous. I do think historically, if we just look at I'll just say the last 50 years, right? Men have looked at women as a prize because, by nature, men are looking for an award or reward. We believe in exchange, and, we believe in an exchange. We're willing to do something to get something. And so when you have a pursuit or a courtship, right, where it's usually the men going after the woman, it would appear that a man is looking for a prize, right? He's looking for something which he is. But in order to add value, in order for the woman to accept and give him what he's looking for, he has to in turn give something, back to the woman. So I just think it's dangerous when we start looking at who the prize is, because it's kind of a distraction. It's kind of like, it's basically saying it's lopsided. There's not equity, right? It's not about equality, but it's about equity, right? If there's 100 shares, you're basically saying one person has 80 shares and the other person has 20, right? And then you lose value, and it's just a dangerous game to play. So I don't think, for it to be healthy, I don't think one person or the other should be considered the prize. That's my stance.
Okay. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe that if the union becomes if the union is a sincere union, and we come together, love each other conditionally, work together as a unit, then I think that yeah, like how the brother just said, we can both be the prize. But ultimately, just from my position, I just think that if we do it from a godly perspective, and because I basically, what I'm learning now is it takes three in that relationship, man, woman, and then God, to kind of be the one who kind of like make sure it keeps that spiritual balance intact. Especially if we love him unconditionally, he loves us unconditionally. We love him affectionately, and then he loves us back unconditionally. I think that once you come together, that's the ultimate prize right there. The ultimate prize is that we have that union under the Most High, and then move forward, and then things can work for the benefit of good, and that's basically it. My position.
Okay.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Angela?
Well, I'm gonna say, okay, it's a scripture. I have a couple of perspectives on this, and Greg mentioned something about the scriptures, right? About God. In the scriptures, it say, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing," right, Greg? I'm sure I'm quoting that right? So that insinuates that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. If I'm saying it right?
Now, I get
Yes. Yes.
your paraphrase. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. It's good enough.
Okay. So that's one perspective. So the reason why we say a prize is because the winner, right? And the reason why the prize is the woman, because what? Men like competition.
That's right.
Right? Men like competition. So if he's in a competitive state, because that's how men think, when he gets her, right, he gets the prize. And what is the prize? We already know what the prize is. Okay. So that's where that concept came from. It's not really a negative concept, but anytime you competing for something, you get a what? Prize. Right? And men are competitive. So to say that a man is the prize, it's like the woman is in competition, and women really don't like competition, even though, he might be catty or whatever, but I'm talking about hardcore competition, right? And men are known for competing for women. But for me, it would be depending on where I'm at emotionally, spiritually, financially at that moment, because I might be in a state of mind where he come rescue me, and I might see him as a prize. If somebody rescue me out of my despair, out of my out of my messed up financial situation or whatever, if I'm doing bad and he rescue me, I might not tell him that, but damn Skippy, he's the prize. You know what I'm saying? Because he rescued me. But it may be a situation where he didn't have to rescue me, and we are on that the same level in terms of emotionally, spiritually, and we going in the same direction. I would see myself as a prize, because I'm gonna put in the effort, and I'm gonna go above average to be special to him. So yes, I will be the prize. Like I will be enthused to do, if I choose him. If I choose him, then I will consider myself the prize, because what I'm willing to invest, what I'm willing to put in, with the work I'm willing to put in.
Can I ask you a question, Angie? What type of man?
Yes, Abdul. Yes, Abdul. You can ask me.
Okay.
Yes, Abdul.
All right. What type of man suits your interest?
See, Abdul. Okay. I got
doing
that.
the dating game on here right
No,
now.
I'm just curious. I mean, with what she said, I want to answer to that. That's all.
All right.
Go ahead, Andrew.
One that will definitely won't tell me he's going to take me to the dollar store. That's number one. One who would take me opposite to the dollar store. One who would consider me worthy enough to spend more than $25 on a pocketbook. Okay. And one who would just have respect for me. Okay. And if I'm speaking to him, I won't get a feeling that he's laughing at my conversations. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. That would be the man.
Hurt my feelings. Go ahead. No problem.
No, you don't have feelings, Abdul. You probably laughing at what I'm saying. We already know you laughing at what I'm saying. Please, you don't have no feelings. You emphasize that very quite well.
All right, you too. All right. All I'm going to add, Hassan, go ahead, Hassan.
I just wanted to what basically what Angela said, right? I don't disagree, and she's been very spot on in terms of the nature of a man, which I've appreciated during this conversation. And men do like competition, and so we do like the spoils of victory. I just do want to. I guess part of what may mislead some women is when they're thought of or they're in the mindset that they're a prize. It gives a false sense of security, right? Because like a trophy doesn't have to do anything, right? The people competing for the trophy are the ones that do the work, right? The trophy is just the symbolism of the victory, right? And, unfortunately, it objectifies, in this case, it will be a woman because she becomes a trophy, right? Which doesn't necessarily have any value. It just has symbolism. And it kind of gives a false sense of security that there's no action required behind being a prize, right? A man that's competing for a prize that's going to sustain him in a certain fashion. And part of the reason why I don't want to say a man or a woman is a prize is because it attached with it is a false sense of security to inflate someone's ego, right? And then there's no accountability or responsibility or action or work behind it.
But Hassan, you heard what I said, right?
I did.
No, but Hassan, yes. What I said this. Listen to what I said. I said, I feel that I would be the prize because the amount of support and energy that I'm going to put into that relationship. I'm going to be above. My goal is to be above average just because I like to show up as that. You understand? Yes. So I'm the prize because I'm showing up. Yes, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying I'm the prize because I'm shiny, because if you feel that I'm worthy to compete for, that I'm worthy to come after, then as the prize, then I'm showing up. So you can feel that prize was worthy.
True. But
so I'm saying it in a positive way. I'm not saying it to negate the fact that you have to put work, because I believe relationships is both people have to work towards it. You understand? It's just not one person, especially a relationship that you feel that's worthy. Because see, if it's not worthy, then of course you're not going to listen, like Abdul said, he's not listening. If you don't go, care, he's not going to listen. But if you feel someone is worthy of your time and your energy and all of that, then you're gonna want to put that energy into it. You're gonna want to put that work into it. You're gonna want to show appreciation. So I'm saying it from that perspective, not that, oh, I'm the prize, I don't have to do anything, I could just sit back and do nothing. No. You understand?
Yes.
Because
So
not
it's more
all
like
prizes
Secret
is
Santa.
worth it.
So it's more like Secret
Say
Santa.
that again.
It's more like Secret Santa. You're exchanging gifts.
No, well, everyone is in a process of exchanging. Everyone does that. You exchange your friendship for, we all in exchanging something. But what
Okay.
benefits us? We all in a
I got it.
process of exchanging. You understand what I'm saying? So but people are so low level that we even have to spell this out, because like you said, you don't want to make it negative. But I'm trying to bring it to another level of high energy, because we want to expand people's mind. Like, stop thinking negative all the time. Not you, but I'm just saying that for us to even have to break it down, like, no, you want to be the prize, so that way but you showing up as the prize. Because just because somebody wins something, that don't mean that they always want that. I'm sure there's things that we won. Remember that we go to Coney Island, you win them little teddy bears, and then you get home and you just put it in the corner, or you might forget it because it has no real value. Every prize don't have a value to it that you want to sustain it and keep it. But then there's those prizes that's special. You want to keep it. It's different. It's distinctive. Like my oldest son, he won plenty trophies, right? I have those trophies in storage, but it's just like one or two trophies that's like dynamic. All right. But then it's the basic ones that how they give out the basic. But then there's a couple of them that I kept in my home. You understand? That is more distinguishable than the other ones. It has a statement. It feels more, he been through more with that to get that, and it meant more. So that's what I mean when I say that.
No doubt.
Okay, I want to say this, and we're going to wrap it up. I'll put my 2 cents on this. I agree with what everyone said, and I want to add this: balance. Again, bringing your highest and best selves, both sides, and under the direction and what your creator has established for us to do when we're playing in our roles. And when we do that and we understand that we're in a partnership, it's a we thing and us thing, then I would say that when you meet those criteria and those standards, then you both are a gift to each other. I won't use the word prize, a gift to each other. So that's my thoughts on that. Agreed. Okay, now the next hot button question is, and there's 2 more, and then we're going to end it because we really got into it tonight. The question is, what is the difference between composure and simping? When does composure drift into simping? Who wants to start that off? I said it. Who wants to start that one off?
What was that again?
Okay.
When the man said, I could start.
No, the question is, no. Let me be specific. The question is, what is the difference between having composure and simping? And then the second part of that is, when does composure drift into simping?
But what you mean by composure? What do you mean by composure?
Composure. Well, we can go into that. Everybody has a different their thoughts on what composure is. But when someone that is in control of themselves, they're not what is the word? Not over emotional and all caught up in their feelings, whatever. They know how to hold their tongue and let someone else speak and give their opinions and thoughts. That's what I describe composure. You may have something else. And then simping, we went into the definition of simping. Does somebody want to give a quick definition of that? Or when we go around, you're going to give your thoughts on what that is. The second part is, when does composure drift into simping? That's the question on the floor.
I'm confused, but okay, this is what I'm hearing from other men. Simping means when you do too much for a woman. Okay. That's simping to me. That's how they make it seem. A man that does a lot for me, he's not simping in my point of view. He's not simping. If I deserve it, and I'm acting as a decent woman, and I'm not giving him no problems, and he is looking out for me, because that's what they mean. From what I've been hearing, a man who does too much. And then some women even say, "Oh, he's a simp." Some women haven't had men do certain things for them. They might get one or two men that have done stuff, and they might look at him as a sucker or a simp because they're not used to anything. But a woman that's used to things, they won't consider a man a simp, like, because you'll feel you deserve it or you worthy of it. So I don't know where they get, back in the days they called it sucker. I guess it's the same thing as a sucker, but a simp. I don't know. But a lot of women say that they see men that does, good, and they call them that. But in my opinion, if you're a woman and you feel you deserve it, he's not a sucker. He's doing what you should be expected, or you feel you worthy of it. I mean, and then composure, like, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand the question and trying to answer it the best way I could, but that's what I'm thinking in terms of simping.
So just context on a simp. A simp is a pushover, kind of in the realms of a trick, or someone who's just doing way too much for a woman that, one, is not necessarily their own, or just there's no boundaries. Like doing stuff for a woman, there's no problem, because if you have a contract with a woman, meaning an agreement, you do what's in that agreement. But basically being a pushover, just anything a woman says you do, and there's no reciprocity there, that's a simp. That's what a simp is, a pushover or a sucker, right? And yeah, you may,
Okay.
like, you may be deserving of certain things, but if it's one-sided or if it's lopsided, and the man is just doing it, to get to what he's trying to get to, but there's no reciprocity in it, then that's a simp. In terms of composure, right? Composure is, for me, again, is value driven. It's just how you conduct yourself as a man, right? Understanding that, a woman may present herself in a certain fashion, and it doesn't mean you have to respond with the same energy. You have to have your composure, right? Like they say, don't argue with fools, because people from a distance can't tell who's who, right? You have to be a man and understand, or that sometimes a woman may be coming at you in a way to get you out of character, and you always got to remain in character. A woman could be trying to disrespect you, but that doesn't mean you respond with respect. Sometimes you just keep it moving, right? And so it's important to have composure, and it's important to always respect yourself and respect women. Don't let them take you out of character. It's important to do stuff for women and to make women feel special, but it's also important to have reciprocity, and where that's lacking is a bad look.
Amen.
Well, with that explained, I wouldn't interact with a simp, and if I did interact with a simp, I won't feel sorry for him, because he's not really simping for no reason. He's simping to get something, so that's why he's doing it. He's being disingenuine. That's what I'm hearing. Like, simp is a disingenuine person. He's just doing it to get something that he otherwise couldn't get, being himself or being, assertive. So me personally, I wouldn't like that person. I wouldn't interact with him.
Okay, Abdal.
Well, that's questionable. Me personally, I could never be a simp because I'm not going to do no more than I have to. That's the first thing. And I'm not going to do no more than I want to. That's the other thing. And it depends on the person. It depends on that person needs of what I'm going to do. And I might go too far and then pull out of it because I've done that before. I've helped people get things or attain things, and then I backed out of the relationship and went on about my way. Because I feel like this: when a person has something to accomplish, finish it out. And once you finish it out, then go on about your way. You've completed what your mission was. Like if my mission was to help this woman out of this situation, whatever she was in, I did that. So now I'm out of the picture. I served my purpose and I helped her and now I'm gone. You know what I mean? That's the way 100% I am all the time. You know, now I have, I want to say this the right way.
Please.
I have females that I deal with, right? They are 100% equal to me. 100%. They are, I have no intentions on ever marrying one of them. I want to marry an ex-girlfriend of mine. Well, let me explain that. They know this already.
You gonna be. You better say if you better word it right, because you gonna have to get off this phone with us. We gonna call and check on you though.
Word it correctly and make it brief. All
right, I'll make it brief. All right. Okay. No, see, the thing is, these two was pushed on me over the years by their parents who I did work for. You know, I still do work for their parents because I keep maintaining their data centers and I maintain their networks and all this stuff, you know, technology stuff. And they were pushed on me, both of them. And I never expected to deal with neither one of them. It was their choice. See, this is the thing. This is what I say. Women have the choice, not the man. The man can only ask you to be with him, but you make that decision. So they decided they wanted to deal with me. So, you know, it's been that way ever since. But the one I want to marry is an ex-girlfriend of mine. She has 2 kids, 13 and 11. And she's still mad at me she said I left her when she was in college. I mean, I don't look at it like that, but I guess it did happen like that, the way she takes it. And her parents are still mad at me for that too. You know, they said she should have had my kids and we should have been married and all this kind of stuff. I hear that all the time. But, you know, that's what I expect in life. To marry a person I want to marry and not the people just because I'm with somebody, you know.
Okay. Well, hold on to that because that's going to go into the final question.
So basically, Greg? Abdul, you are like a stud.
Angela, why are you getting him started again? Hold on.
I'm a service manager.
Oh, you see. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, with him too.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a person who shows excessive sympathy or overly sympathetic, they usually do it for the wrong reasons. So, you know, all depending on the situation. To some degree, I think a lot of men have maybe been there at some point. And when I say that, I don't mean it to the degree of being overly sympathetic. I like, especially when you were young, you know, and you came across a real pretty young lady and things like that, and you were trying. And I'm just saying this, and I'm not saying all men, but to some degree, a lot of men can relate to at some point trying to do everything everything that they could to have gotten that woman to really get their attention and want to do everything in their willpower to get this girl to like them. So they, you know, especially in the beginning when you presented yourself as this individual that was this, that, so forth, nice, you know, whatever you try to do to get where you needed to get. I think to some degree, a lot of men have used that, you know, that strategy, and a lot of it, and it really, a lot of times it didn't work. Sometimes it will work for individuals who had all the wrong reasons. Just like, for instance, I know many women years ago from when I grew up who always like to deal with the bad guys. You know, good girls always like to run after the guy
Yeah, right.
doing things like that, and stuff like that. And all that dude would have to do is say one or two things, and the girls already be dazzled by his little gangster image. So automatically he would say whisper sweet nothings in her ear, be overly sympathetic just to the degree of get where he wanted to get, and then from there everything was over after he scored or got whatever he wanted. You know what I mean? So it's a real bad situation. It's a real bad term. It's very bad when people are disingenuous and use it just for that strategy of getting something for themselves. So that's basically what someone overly sympathetic or aggressively sympathetic for the wrong reasons, and a person who keeps their composure, someone who's calm and collective, and if they apply those things to their everyday values of life, I think that's a good thing, because keeping your composure, puts you in that position of just observing and making the right moves when it counts, and doing everything from the best perspective, for that for the best solution. That's it.
Right. Okay, very nice. Okay, the final question on the table for this evening, and then we're going to wrap it up, is what are you looking for when choosing a partner? Do you need your opposite or your complement? Hassan, would you like to start?
Compliment. Synergy.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate on that anymore, or?
I think that's self-explanatory.
Drop the mic time. Gotcha. Abdal?
Well, I'd want the opposite of myself.
I figured that. That's right.
I wouldn't want nobody like I am. No way.
How about that?
No, that'd be too much to handle. You know what I mean? It's hard handling myself. I don't want nobody like me. No kind of way. That's why the women I see are identical to myself. They're business smart. They're vicious type people too. I mean, really vicious. I mean, because they've been trained in such a way that they are very vicious people. They carry firearms. I do too. And I carry New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. I'm not carrying in New York. When I come up there, I don't carry no gun. I don't want to get killed by them cops up there. So New York is out. But no, I don't want a woman that's nothing like me, no kind of way to think like I do or have my type of actions. No way. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Greg?
I guess I would just have to say, I think I would just take it as it goes. Yeah, just it's not really too much to discuss when it comes to that situation. Compliment is always key, but I would just take it as it go, and I'll just see if I'm worthy of the compliment. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Angela?
I would say someone that compliments my personality and everything. To me, it would be more easygoing. I don't want to be fighting and going through all of that. I would want someone that compliments me as a person, as a human being. So, yeah.
Okay. I agree. I say my compliment. I would like someone with more similarities than opposition, different thoughts. So I would say my compliment. And with that is our final question of the evening. I want to say thank you to all of our speakers tonight, our panel. I want to say thank you, Abdal, Greg, and Hassan. Thank you for joining us for the first time. I hope this won't be the last time that you join us and speak with us on the platform. So I want to say thank you to you all. Good night. It was a wonderful conversation. I appreciated everything you had to say. Is that you, Angela, somebody was saying something?
No,
that was great.
I was saying thank you likewise. I appreciate it always. Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you
Hassan, what part of New Jersey you live in? I live in New Jersey. I live in Lindenwood.
Oh, I don't want to disclose that on the live. You know, I don't want people trying to come to my spot. But I'm in
Anybody come in your house?
I'm in northern New Jersey.
Oh, you North Jersey?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
close to Hackensack.
Oh, okay.
I used to
Okay,
live in
and
Hackensack, so yeah. Oh, well, good night, guys. Thank you, Hassan, for being the first time on the show. Welcome. I hope you return. Thanks a lot for your input. And good night, everyone. Of course, Greg and Abdul,
Yes.
for always participating and supporting us.
Thanks
And I'm
for
gonna try
having
to put Angie, I'm gonna try to put my feelings back together today.
Oh, please. You better worry about that lady you talking about. The one that carried a firearm. They might bust a cap at you. That's what you better be worried about. But I'm going to check on you tomorrow, Abdul. I'm going to check on you tomorrow. So don't worry about it, okay? I'm going to check on you.
Okay.
All right, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Y'all take care.
All right.
Take
Good night,
All right.
everyone.
Thank
Good night.
All right.
thank
All
you,
right.
family, for joining in. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Conversations with AA. And I want to say good night to everyone and join us next time.
Good night, everyone. Have a
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
All right.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.